Hello, folks. Welcome back. The program is Chris, live in central Pennsylvania. We have another refugee interview today. This with an anonymous South African refugee who's in the United States. His name is Ben. I was going to call him Tian, but his name is Ben. And we're doing this anonymously. So you'll see on the screen there a representation of Ben. Big Ben, of course, that is the famous clock in London. But psych, Ben is going to come on camera. Let him come on camera now, and we're going to get rid of that picture. Hey, Ben, can you come on camera now? Oh, look at this. There we go. There's Ben and his wife.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Is the TV on in the background or something? I heard someone else talking.
Yeah, sure. Let me quickly turn that down. Give me 1 second. Sorry, we've got a little one, so we're trying to keep him busy as well.
Okay. Maybe just turn it down a little bit because it's distracting.
There we go. Perfect. Okay. Is it better?
Yeah, I don't hear it now. Okay, cool beans. All right, guys. So here's Ben and his family. Ben, where are you guys located at?
We are in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, I definitely had you in the wrong place. Okay. So Ben wanted to make a point to me, one which I make all the time, so I thought it was kind of unnecessary. We're going to make it for the viewers. Folks, every refugee has a different experience. The application process, the way they got over here, their interviews, their background checks, their medical, their arrival in states, the support they do or do not get for refugee assistance. Everyone's different. So Ben, how's your experience been thus far, and when did you arrive?
We arrived on the 10th of December. And I think we are very, very blessed. I wish I could mention my caseworker, but I won't do that because they have been absolutely amazing. We have had nothing but help and understanding, and just they are really exceptional. They are doing everything they need to, and they go above and beyond for our family. So we have got no complaints in that department.
All right. Well, now I'm going to play the role of matchmaker here. Do you guys, you have marital discord? Can you not get closer together? I mean, I got half her face and half of yours.
No. There's a charger cable in the middle here, so I should have done this on the laptop.
There we go. No, it's working fine on your phone, but we couldn't see. Now, there, right there. Don't move. Don't move for 40 minutes. All right. So who's that with you there? Is that your small house or is that your wife?
This is my wife. She's just on the shorter side, but this is my beautiful wife, Lynn.
All right, Lynn. Pleasure to have us join us. Thanks for having the courage to come on and talk about stuff. Okay, guys, how did you get involved in the program? Was it a PRM email? Was it a statement of interest, the intake questionnaire, or did someone call you and say, hey, you're coming over?
No. So what I did was when we heard about the Trump administration opening the program for us, I was one of the very first people, I believe. I think the second day after it was announced, I filled in the application online, the little one on your app or on the phone. I filled that in, and we didn't expect anything to come from it, if I'm honest. I mean, we took a chance. And then how long did we wait?
It was quite a while. I think we heard from them the first time in September.
Yeah. So we heard our first call was in September. And it was the strangest call because you get your call and it's an international number. So you get the call, but you can barely hear anything that they are saying because they're phoning you from Kenya. So now you're stressing because you can't hear them and you don't want to miss the opportunity. And luckily, I said to the person, listen, I cannot hear you, so please understand, we don't want to lose this opportunity. And he phoned me back immediately, and it was a better connection. And it just went smoothly from there on out.
All right, so let me clarify something very quickly. You said you did an application on your phone or something like that from the very beginning, but the way this started was on February 7th, and the program was, the guidelines were announced on February 10th, and there was no application. It was an email message to PRM. Then on the 12th of May, there was the statement of interest. Did you do an email or the statement of interest?
No, I did not do the email. I did the statement of interest. Apologies.
Okay. No, that's quite all right. No, but just for clarity, because people hear what they want to hear, they don't listen to what's said, and I want to make sure we're clear. The PRM email, that were the first people who did it under the proof of concept, and the 59ers who came over on May 12th, they were part of that group, and some people that I know.
We were often that.
So you did the statement of interest, which came out on the 12th. Now, how did you find out about that? Because I announced it to South Africa from Wimpy's at OR Tambo.
So I actually saw a TikTok, and they mentioned you, and then that I didn't know anything about this. So I followed the TikTok's information. I can't even remember who the creator was of the video. It was some unknown person. And I asked a bit of questions, and he answered me. And yeah, that's how we found out TikTok. But your video was played, that the information you gave through, and that's what I saw first. It was you.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing when it comes to my videos, because so many TikTok creators have been stealing my content and using it. The number of views that I've gotten for my stuff is well over 100 million, but I don't get credit for that because it's not on my video. So okay, so it was a TikTok video. That's interesting that it got your attention. But here's an important part. You just said you didn't know about the program till you saw a TikTok video around the 12th of May, which means that from February, March, April, May, for 4 months, you didn't even know about this program, did you?
Correct.
Well, that's pretty crazy. I mean, it's something that should have been well known, but of course, I'm going to guess that's because the media really didn't address it, or you weren't paying attention to what's going on in the news. One of the two.
Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but yeah, that's the first time we heard of it on TikTok.
Wow! So the 12th of May. All right, but from a standpoint of May, June, July, August, September. So it still took 4 months before you got the first contact, and it was a phone call from Kenya on a Kenyan number. All right. After that first phone call, what were your thoughts? I mean, is this real? I mean, could this happen, or did you think it was a scam, or what's going on?
Yeah, I think we didn't think it was a scam. We knew it was happening. We were obviously watching your videos and hearing about people going over and everything like that. But obviously it is a thing of, you get a fright of your life. Your heart starts beating so fast that you can't think. And I immediately just said to Ben that I really want this so bad. So we were like watching our phones to wait for the next steps and everything like that. But it's a thing of, you're so nervous, you don't know what to expect, you don't know what to do. So you just can't imagine that it's happening. So, and
it happens very fast. After your first contact, everything happens extremely fast. So,
well, in
our experience, everything happened very, very fast. And they even warn you, and they explain to you that once the ball starts rolling, it's going to roll very fast. So be ready. And they were correct in saying that.
Well, guys, are you able to tell me what part of South Africa you're from, or is that something you want to protect?
I don't mind. We are from Johannesburg. Gauteng.
Okay, all right. So Johannesburg, but are you like from Randfontein or from Sandton or Brockpan? Where are you from?
So I'm
Alberton.
Alberton. Yes, Alberton.
Well, you understand why I ask.
Yeah.
No, just teasing. So you guys from Alberton. Okay, so once you got in this program, what about the medicals? So you got a little one there. Were the medicals a challenge, or was that easy? How'd that go?
It was actually very easy. Everything was easy. They made us. It was very easy. There was no complications. They didn't have to take his blood. That was a bit of a, with a 4-year-old, he doesn't know what's happening. But other than that, they made us feel comfortable. Everything was comfortable with kids, so there was really no issues.
Now, have either of you flown previously, either domestically or internationally?
Yes.
He has. I have never. So is the 4-year-old has never. So, and the teenager, he has flown internationally. So yeah, two of us has, 2 of us hasn't.
Okay, so since you've never flown before, what was that 15 or 17-hour flight like? Was that anxious?
No.
Well, it was actually way more than 17 hours, because we had to fly from Cape Town for some odd reason. So we had to fly from Johannesburg to Cape Town, from Cape Town, obviously, to Atlanta, and from Atlanta to our final destination. So we were basically on an airplane for close to like 21 hours.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
And I think I must say, everyone warns us that, flying with a little one is going to be difficult. And I think we were very lucky in that sense, because I think it was so overwhelming to him that he even behaved. He wasn't busy. He wasn't naughty. He just listened and he did what he was told. So that was good.
Well, my experience, guys, on these long flights like that, and I was talking specifically from Cape Town to Atlanta, which could be 15 to 17 hours. That's pretty brutal. Yeah. But on that one, my experience is that it's usually infants that it's a trouble with, because infants don't understand what's happening with the pressurization, and the pressure change puts pressure on the ears and puts them in discomfort. And adults don't typically notice. You might yawn and your ears pop or something like that. And with the pressurization in the cabin, it's not supposed to happen all that, but it does happen. There is a difference from at sea level. So with infants, it can be a problem, but usually kids 2, 3, 4 years old tend to behave themselves on planes as long as you give them something to do.
That's the thing. I must say, sorry for interrupting you. That we were very impressed with our airline. From what I saw in the movies, you sit in the plane and you get to choose between one or two movies to watch, which was not the case. There's a screen at the back of the person in front of you that obviously for you to watch, and it's like a little Netflix. There's everything, series, kid shows, games. So he stayed busy the entire flight playing with the screen, and that kept him busy. So that was good.
And I think he's at an age that he was excited to fly because we told him, "Are you going to fly for the first time?" So he knew what was coming and he could understand it. So it made it easier. And they also make the flight in the evening, which I think is because of the kids, because then when you get on the flight, they sleep, which he did. He slept for quite a while. So, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of advantages in those long flights doing it overnight for various reasons. And both ways it goes overnight, going to South Africa and coming from South Africa. Okay, let's change the focus a little bit here. So the reason you guys came over, I mean, are you unhappy that the Lions suck or that the Bulls suck? Is that why you came to America?
No. So I'm not gonna delve too deeply into this.
That's fine. I just want to get an idea that
No, that's all good. I don't mind saying this. I think I made the right choice for my kids' futures. Because for a fact, I know that if I had to lose my job in South Africa now, I will be sitting without work for the foreseeable future. So if it's like that for me now, how will it be for my kids in the next 10, 15 years? So we made that conscious decision for them and their futures. And I think we made the correct choice because I can really see a difference here. It's amazing.
I think the best way to say it, obviously there's many, many, many reasons why we made this decision, especially for our kids.
Sorry.
But I think, one of the biggest, mainest reasons was Ben was looking for other jobs. And when you apply for the jobs, they do give you a criteria where they
need to follow a certain criteria with.
They ask you what, obviously, I don't know how much I can say.
Everyone knows what you mean, so I'm not going to go to.
The bottom line here is, are you white? Are you black? And that you have to answer that question. Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah, and you don't have to do that here. When you apply for a job, that's not something they ask you because it doesn't matter.
Correct. It doesn't matter.
I do still feel very uncomfortable talking that way. It's not in my nature. So it is very hard for me to actually say those words. So, yeah.
Well, I'm not really sure what you mean by your nature, but I understand the program in South Africans have gone through it because you've been told you're racist. And if you say something like that, but the bottom line is it's just simply a fact. People should be hired on merit and qualifications and skills and potential, not based on skin pigmentation. That's what the National Party did. And that's what the ANC is doing. Both are morally bankrupt. All right, Lynn, so any regrets?
No. I would do this over again 5, 6, 7 times.
No regrets. When it comes to the weather, it is very cold. Like you do struggle to just go outside quickly, but no regrets as in big.
So let me explain to you what she means by the cold. So I just went to the gas station last night quickly, and when I got into the car, the wiper blades went on. And the wiper blade broke off because it was frozen to the windshield. So the entire wiper blade broke off because it got frozen from the cold weather.
Okay, so here's a lesson for South Africans, which I guess I hadn't shared because winter's crept up on us. In America and in the Northern Hemisphere, in the wintertime, you need to put the defrosters on your windscreen and let it warm up before you turn your wipers on. Yeah, because so now you're going to have to replace them and they're not cheap.
Luckily I got it fixed, but
Okay, all right. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you go. That's an interesting lesson there. Okay, so let's get to the cold. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not exactly, the Highveld or Durban. It's a very different experience up there. You're very close to the Great Lakes. You get some, not so much lake effect. It mostly goes to the east, but nonetheless, you get those weather systems that come off the Great Lakes that hit Wisconsin. But what's it like? Are you in town proper in Milwaukee? Or are you out in a suburb? Because you guys didn't see that, but off camera, Ben had to walk around from the bed. I saw his bedroom, the hallway, the kitchen, the living room. I saw it all. And I'm a little envious. He's got a pretty nice place there.
Yeah, we are blessed. We are lucky. We are in town, so in the main street, in a building full of refugees, if I could put it that way. Not South African refugees, but from all over the world. And we are very, very, very blessed with our little place that we were given.
Well,
yeah, so we definitely not in a suburb area. So it is very busy. It is very city
vibes.
Yeah.
So Tom Smith is saying stand your wipers up overnight, but only if you have if you have property that's your own. I wouldn't recommend that in the public because some smart aleck will come along and snap your wiper blades off. That doesn't work very well. At Iowa State football game in 1996, I was closing up the concession stands after the game, and it was a pouring rainstorm, and I left my wipers on and locked the key to my car. I left it running in the rainstorm. Went to grab some, came back, and some smart aleck came by, grabbed my wiper blade, and snapped it up like this and bent the arm. I had to replace the entire arm I mean, I get what he's saying, but unless you live in a place that you're very comfortable with, I wouldn't leave those things up.
Look, in regards to that, it is it is safe here. I mean, when we got an Amazon delivery, just Christmas gifts for the kids, and we're not used to this. This is something completely new for us. They left the packages in the lobby, and we didn't get the email that it was delivered. 4 hours later, we went down. The package is still standing in the lobby. Nobody takes your packages. Nobody steals it. People just leave your things alone.
Well, yeah, that's true. But we've got to be. Whoops, my hand went back up again. I hate that. Why does it do that? So that's true. But we got to be clear about something. We do have an issue with crime in America with porch pirates. They're called. Yeah. So that happens quite a bit, and it's even happened here in the local town where I'm at. Those Ring doorbells really have a way of defeating that. So the porch pirates get caught eventually. But package theft on a porch is common. A lot less common in an apartment complex where it's inside and the package is left on the ground, which is what their situation was. All right, so the cold is something you're getting adjusted to. It's a safe place. What about the other refugees? Have you had any contact with them? You've been there for a month. Have you talked to the other folks in the building?
Yes. Well, not the building necessarily. We tend to keep to ourselves. But we've got a WhatsApp group that we created with a bunch of refugees in the area, just in case someone needs help or someone needs any assistance for whatever it might be. But yeah, we've created a little group and we communicate via the group. We just did it on our own. I mean, I must say, Lily has put me in contact with a lot of refugees that came over to Milwaukee, and that has helped us a lot because we could get everyone on one group.
But you're talking about South African refugees there.
Yes, sir. Yes.
That's the ones Lily put you in touch with. But I mean, I'm talking about the other refugees from the other countries.
Not really. We don't really. We're not the type of people to go and just speak to everyone in the area. We tend to keep to ourselves.
So there's other refugees in Milwaukee, and you're the only ones that have contacted me. Shame on them.
Yes, there's quite a few. We were surprised. We were one of the first kind of couple or family that was put in Milwaukee. But since we've come here, a lot of people joined us afterwards. So, yeah.
All right. Okay, guys, the marital discord is growing as we do the broadcast. They're once again further apart. I can barely see either one of them on the screen.
I'm going to move the phone a little bit. Hold on for 1 second. I'm going to just fix it.
Slowly but surely get off camera.
There you go. That's better.
Just teasing you there. All right, yeah, but seriously. Okay, so it sounds like you've had a very good experience thus far.
Yeah.
So what was it like where you greeted, you arrived in Atlanta, obviously U.S. officials were there, then you flew to Milwaukee. Was someone from the refugee agency there to greet you and welcome you, and then they put you in a hotel or put you in an apartment right away? Tell us a little bit about that process.
So we were greeted at the Milwaukee airport immediately with somebody that actually recognized our little young son. He didn't recognize us, he just recognized the toddler. And
they've become best friends.
Yes. But from there on out, he actually took us to their offices immediately. So we didn't go to a hotel or come home. We went to their offices. We had a short chat because I did understand we were tired. Like anything or everything she said to me that day, I did not take in. But we had to sign a couple of documents, and then they brought us home. We luckily didn't go to a hotel. They immediately brought us to our place. And
they were very prepared for us. Everything was ready. There was food in the fridge. There was cleaning supplies. There was bathroom supplies for the entire family. They were very prepared for our family to arrive, which was amazing.
Yeah, and after he dropped us off here, I think it was maybe one day, they gave us like little breather, like just time to breathe. And then the very next day, all the appointments and meetings started.
All right, so things that got underway. Okay, the two questions now, the most important questions that really matter because you're going to want to get to work as soon as you can. Do you have Social Security numbers and an employment authorization document?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I must say our caseworkers were very quick on it. I think we were here literally a week, and we had our Social Security appointments. And yeah,
what a pleasure to go to that office, and we were there probably for 30 minutes. It's basically like almost like your home affairs in South Africa, which you will not spend 30 minutes going there. We were there for 30 minutes, friendly staff, they knew what they were doing, in and out, done. And it was a pleasure dealing with them, really was.
So
yeah, and
go ahead, Lynn.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So yeah, we can start looking for work. I actually do have work already. Ben also has a job lined up, hopefully, but he needs to get his American license first.
Driver's license, yeah.
Yeah, driver's license, because he can drive here now at the moment because he's got his international permit. But when you look for a job, they do prefer that you've got your official driver's license.
Insurance purposes, yeah.
Well, in fact, they prefer, but it is the law. After a certain period of time, usually 30, 60, 90 days max, if you don't have a license issued by the state you're residing in, then you're committing a criminal act. Pennsylvania, it's 60 days.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is in Wisconsin, but every state's different. All right. So you're finally driving on the correct side of the road, Ben. What's that experience been like?
There's been a few times where I went into the wrong lane, complete wrong side of the road, where I had to reverse and go to the correct side of the road because your brain, they say there's a saying that goes, old bad habits die hard, and that's what the case is here. I've walked to the wrong side of the car numerous times, opened the wrong door because I want to get into the car, and then the steering wheel's on the other side. So
there's been times where we walk to the car and I'm like, what side do I sit again? Like, I'm not sure where I am.
It's very, very strange, but you get used to it very quickly.
Yes.
All I have to tell myself the entire time driving is just stay on the right, just stay on the right, stay on the right. So yeah, it's weird, but you get used to it.
Well, it's like left-handed people. We think with the right side of our mind. So, I mention that because it's not a trivial thing. It's important because you have to adjust the road safety. You have to understand that.
Yeah.
So how have you found the traffic and driving here? Are these people as crazy as Joburg drivers?
No, I've avoided the freeway as far as I could, but we had to take a trip to go on the freeway to go to one of the stores here. And we need to learn to slow down a little bit because the roads here, it seems like everything comes up much quicker. Your turn off comes up much quicker than it would have happened in South Africa, where you get warned and warned and warned and warned. Yeah, it's like 2 warnings and you've got to turn. So we needed to learn to slow down a lot while we're driving so that we can focus and listen to the GPS and not miss our turn off. So yeah.
I think it's a very big thing that you brought up here because I actually mentioned it to Ben. It's just the area that we're in, but everything is so more slowed down. I don't know how to explain it, but I told Ben the other day.
It's rushing.
Yeah, we lived. You have to go on the road. You have to be quick. If you want to turn, you turn. A stop street, I'm going to be honest, in South Africa, you don't even actually stop at a stop street. You just go in second, And it's very different. People are so patient. Like if you just have to stop in the middle of the road because you have to drop somebody off, they don't beep at you.
I haven't heard someone use their car horn once, which is strange because
clearly you do not live in Atlanta.
No, it's nice and calm here, I must say.
I think maybe it is the area that we're in, but it's so much more calmer. Like in the when we drove on the roads in Johannesburg, you there's no way you can, just slow down or anything like that, because people will
lose their patience with you. Whereas in Milwaukee, if you need to give someone a chance to wake up at the robots or the stop street for them to see they need to go, you don't blow your horn at them, you don't hoot, you just wait, and your turn will come. And people are nice in that way, I must say. It's very. I said to Lynn, since we came over here, I've become so relaxed. Because on the road in South Africa, I used to be like, you get agitated and you get annoyed with people. It's not like that here. You wait. You've got nowhere to rush to. Take your time.
Well, in the interest of full disclosure, I will have to tell Ben and Lynn that obviously they haven't been in front of me at a stopped robot, because I will flash my high beams as somebody's sitting there daydreaming. Because people have a habit in the age of mobile phones of texting while they're at robots, and then nobody gets through. So you'll get people get impatient, and I don't yell at people anymore, and I certainly don't fire my firearm at them anymore. I found out that's illegal. You can't do that.
Yeah, I think we are just very lucky, and this is exactly what we needed. So I don't know if it maybe just came on our road because we
needed to calm down a little bit.
And in our life in Alberton was very quick and rushed. You didn't have time to just stop at a stop street. So we needed this. I think we were just put in this area to actually see that not everything.
God knows best, and God knows where to place you so that you can learn a life lesson, which we have learned here. And the life lesson is to calm down a little bit.
All right. Well, that's not unreasonable. So there was a question earlier. You guys have got a car. Did you purchase a car, or did you get a loan, or what's going on with that?
No. So when I left my job in South Africa, I received my pension money. So, and we knew that we needed a vehicle, so we made the decision to buy a little car for ourselves this side, so that we don't need to depend on the bus or stand in the cold waiting for the bus. So we used our money from my pension fund to buy ourselves a little vehicle, and it was so quick and easy as well. We were very blessed with the salesperson we even had. He was upfront. That's one thing in America that I really appreciated, which I never knew was a thing. When you buy a vehicle, it's got something called a window sticker. On that window sticker, they need to disclose everything of that vehicle. What has been checked, what has not been checked, what is broken, what is not, what needs to be fixed. The vehicle we bought, nothing needed to be fixed. Very happy with that. But in South Africa, it feels like when you buy a vehicle, you never know what you're going to buy. And we knew exactly what we bought the site. There was even an app that you could go onto and you could see everything, previous owners or previous accidents, and such a pleasure buying a vehicle this side, I must say.
Well, that's actually an important point to mention here, because you often get hurricanes and floods and things like that, and then cars get cleaned up and resold from the south or from Louisiana or something like that. And it's always good to be able to go check the provenance, the origin of a vehicle, which you can do online. Now, what you're talking about is a disclosure statement. Each state governs that differently. Each state has different requirements. So it might not be the same in Wisconsin as it is in Iowa, as it is in Nevada. Okay. So that's important to understand if you happen to move around the country later on, if you're traveling around. Okay, so Ben, did you guys feel unsafe in South Africa? Because you've talked about you were discriminated against because of employment, which is a legitimate reason to come over. But did you feel unsafe at all? Because a lot of people are actually kind of terrified of being in South Africa.
I felt unsafe for my family's well-being as well as my own. We would never go out after 7 o'clock at night. We'd be sure to be at home. We lock the doors so that I know where my family is and they are under my roof, where I could keep an eye on them. I can honestly say I haven't felt safe in South Africa for a very, very, very long time.
Well, I think all our lives, and it's small things, and it's ever since that we're here that we actually noticed how we live or how we feel. So the other day as well, we were literally getting into the car and there was this old lady handing out pamphlets or something.
This side.
We got such a fright that you get ice cold, because you obviously in South Africa, when that happens, it's not a good thing when somebody comes close to your car.
And knocks on your window and
Yeah, so and I told Ben, like, wow, like that was actually yeah, like it's stuff like that we used to in South Africa. It's like every day that happens. You're scared and everything.
I don't have to look behind me anymore when I pull into our apartment complex. I don't have to look who's pulling up behind me to block me in to try and hijack me, which is something I taught her in South Africa. Whenever you pull into the gate, you never stop in front of the gate. You stop next to the sidewalk so that you can get a chance to get out when you need to. Don't let them pull you. Don't let them block you in, which is such a sad mind state to be living in, because I have to teach my wife what to do when she gets hijacked. Don't argue with them. Grab the baby, get out of the vehicle as calmly as you can. You don't have to live like that, but we did.
No, that's exactly right. Go ahead, Lynn.
No, it's the other day as well. Funny enough, as well, we were getting out of the car, and there was a car pulling in, kind of just when we parked, and it was idling there, and I was like so suspicious of this car, and I'm like, oh no, like what does he look like? Is he gonna do something to us? And then he was actually simply just waiting for somebody to pick somebody up. And it's that mindset that we have such a we're always in survival mode, we're always scared, and then you just realize, oh, somebody parking next to the road is literally just waiting for somebody to pick somebody up.
It got to the point, just to answer your question, sorry for interrupting you, but I used to work in Johannesburg, and then she worked from home, and I would check in every 2 hours with her, because I know that there are people cleaning the complex, and I didn't trust her being alone at home with people working in the complex and her being women alone at home. So I would check in every 2 hours to make sure, hey, are you safe? Is everything okay at home? And I just feel like it's not a way to live. It's constant worry, constant stress. Is your family okay? Is my child gonna make it okay home when he walks home from school this afternoon? Is my little one okay at the creche? Because they don't close the gate every day. They forget to close the gate. Is someone going to walk into the creche? It's things like that.
No, absolutely. Of course, the time I've been doing this channel, people ask about security measures. Of course, I have a lot of background in security and defense. And one of the things I always told people is you never drive up to your gate and wait for it to open. You either, if your neighborhood is particularly dodgy, you drive past your house and look at what's going on. Look if anybody's on the street, anyone sitting in a car, anyone standing in a corner, anyone walking by your gate, anyone inside your property as you go past. Then come back, if you're in a dodgy neighborhood. If you're not a dodgy neighborhood, as you approach your gate, you open up with your remote so that you never stop and you pull straight in. And you combat park. If you have the space, some people have big enough property, they can do this. You combat park. What that means is you're facing outwards. But not everybody has the ability. Some places are small, you can just pull straight in. But if you have the ability to pull in and turn around, that's what you do. So you can run the bastards over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's a lot of people unfortunately lost their lives in South Africa because they don't take simple measures like this and they haven't thought about that. Yeah. But it's really sad. Okay, so let's talk about frustrations. You guys seem to be pretty darn happy. You've had a really good experience, it sounds like. But were there any other than the wait, were there any frustrations with the program in any way that you can share with us? Lynn, anything that made it difficult? Because Ben's shaking his head no.
You go ahead, but yeah.
Look, for me, the only frustration is, but I think it comes to the point of you just waiting and be patient. Yeah. There was a lot of times where I wish I could just email and ask a question, or just email and ask for an update, or just email and just see, because at one stage, our case, it was so weird, but everything was ready, everything was completed. And then all of a sudden, the checks, security checks went back to in progress. And now you're sitting there, you can't email anybody. You just have to be patient and let it, go and wait for it to update or something like that. And that was the only frustration part, is there's nobody you can contact. You have to wait for them to contact you and email you or phone you. But it's not a train smash. But I think I'm just maybe a very impatient person.
And I think also what would have helped, if I'm honest, is if we had some indication as to where not that it was a big problem for us, but some indication as to where you're going a little bit prior to the time, because we were literally, last email we received is plane tickets and this is where you're going. So we had no way to prepare. Not that I think we could have actually prepared, but clothing wise and, just to be sure that you do have what you need once you do get here. But look, they did assist us with that, with clothing and all that when we did land. But I think that would have helped us a bit as well to mentally prepare. This is where you're going. Go do some research on the area. But that's all I would have preferred to have different. Further on, this program has been so good to us. So we have no complaints.
So you mentioned the last email said this is where you're going. How far in advance of when you got on a plane did you receive that email?
4 days.
4 days.
We've told people be ready to move quickly, haven't we?
Yeah, that's very quick.
Yeah, it was quick. It was very quick. We got the email, and then in 4 days we had to pack up, sell everything in our house, leave jobs, everything. It was scary.
If I could just give one word of advice, it's something that caught us completely off guard, was us staying in Johannesburg. You expect to fly out of Johannesburg. That was not the case. We had to, not that it was a problem, but we had to get to Cape Town on our own budget, and because we flew out of a different area.
Yeah, and this is tied to the fact not who you are, but where you're going, and I'll explain why. Because Delta flies out of Cape Town, and United flies out of Joburg, although they sometimes have flights out of both of them. And so Atlanta, your connection, if you're going to be in a Delta flight, they're going to fly you from Cape Town. If you're going to be a United flight that's going to connect you somewhere with a United flight, then they're going to fly you out of Joburg. If you're going to go on another airline, it may not depend. It may not matter. So they may just put you wherever. Sometimes, like for instance, we have people that fly United from Joburg to Newark, but then they fly Southwest to a smaller airport somewhere. So it just that's the deal. Now, like you said, I also know people that had to go from Cape Town to fly to Joburg to fly to Newark to get to Kentucky. So it doesn't make sense, but it's a burden. But you got to make sure you got to have a plan for that. Yeah, you got to be prepared for that on a short notice. You got to squirrel some money aside to pay for those flights or travel to get from one place to another. But you did mention that you got paid out your pension. So how far in advance did you tell your employer in order to get that money?
No, luckily my mom assisted us in that matter. So I borrowed the money from her. So as soon as I get it, I can get paid back to her.
Okay, so okay, but I mean, because we got to be clear there, because I mean, I'm not trying to intrude your personal business, but no, it's fine. But you've cashed out your retirement, but you haven't gotten it yet. You're going to reimburse your mom. Your mom was able to help you. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a very important thing to mention as well to people that I want to mention. Maybe it has been mentioned many a times, but we've heard a couple of stories which breaks my heart. Obviously, when people hear the first time from, about the program, and they, obviously
they get an
email and all of that, they kind of leave their jobs, they sell their houses, which we understand because you obviously know you're coming, but you don't know when yet. And sometimes things can happen fast, sometimes not. And anyways, point is, I hear about a lot of people that leave their jobs, sell their houses, and then they have nothing, and they don't even have flight dates yet. So I do want to mention that, like, keep your job, keep everything until you've got those flight tickets and flight dates. Like, don't leave your job until you've got those tickets in your hands.
Look, we understand that you have to, when it comes to your job, it becomes very, very tricky. I was lucky enough that I worked for an amazing company. I was able to go to my manager and explain my situation to him with being confident that he will keep it, between the two of us. So he could prepare at least, and I knew that, listen, I could be honest with him. But I do understand it's not that easy. You need to work notice. I mean, you can't just pack up and leave, especially if there's pension and stuff involved. You need to work your notice. But I would advise be honest with someone you can trust, because it happens extremely quickly that you have to say, okay, listen, I'm leaving in 4 days. So it becomes very difficult.
So Lynn mentioned the point about the portal, the status changing, going back and forth.
Yes.
And I've told people, I said, listen, you need to quit panicking, because those statuses can change. Your investigation may say completed, but if something crops up, it may not be bad, but something comes up. See, when they say completed, they've done the initial investigation, but they're waiting for data and information to come in from other locations and other things. So something might come in and go, aha, wait, we have to look at this now, and it can reopen. So, I mean, and then you have people, for instance, who do medicals and the x-ray shows up a spot on the lung. So now they have to get another test. So I think that in many ways that damn portal is more of a pain in the ass and more of a distraction than it should be. And people keep hanging all their hopes, but I'm done. No, you're not. And along those lines, Lynn, before you jump in there, along those lines, I have told people, and I'm having less and less empathy for people who do not listen to what I say. Do not get rid of your abode, your residence. Do not get to the place you live and wind up homeless and on the street. Do not sell everything. I have people who traveled from Boat Revere to Joburg to be interviewed. They sold all their stuff. They got rid of the house just to go for an interview. And you don't go for months. You guys were interviewed, initially contacted in September, October, November, December. It was 4 months before you left. But you initially put in your SOI in May. That was 7 months. It is foolhardy and asinine and stupid to think that because you have an interview, you're going to be a refugee, because you might be turned down. And also, it might be 2 months, it might be 10 months before you go. People need to start exercising good judgment when it comes to the portal and when it comes to wrapping up your business affairs. Lynn, what do you say to that?
Yes, I agree. So let me say this. We found out about the portal very late. We actually didn't even know there's a portal. We found out about it very late. And I was more at ease and calmful and mindful and like, okay, it will happen when it needs to happen, or it can happen in 2 years' time. It's not going to happen now. I was very calm until I found out about that portal. And I checked that portal every 5 minutes. I was like checking for updates. If something changed, I panic. I'm guilty. I don't think that portal is a very good thing, because it just doesn't set your mind at ease. When something changes, you can't just think clearly, but okay, obviously something came in or they're checking something else. You immediately panic. So, yeah, that portal is not good.
No, I agree 100%. Two things let me address here very quickly that just came up in the chat because, again, people are not listening. I've said this 10 billion times over the past 11 months. One, that Tentra says that people cannot afford to fly several times for interviews, medicals, etc., so they sell their things to be able to do it. Yes, you are correct, but you're not understanding the story, which I've told previously, of a family who resigned from their jobs, liquidated their property, and flew there without ever having been interviewed. Now, if you have to sell things to pay for a flight, okay, I understand. But quitting your job, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why would you quit your job? And then the other family member lost their job because they were gone for 3 weeks. And I said, what do you mean you're gone for 3 weeks? It doesn't take 3 weeks to do interviews. No, we're staying in a guest house up here in Pretoria. I'm like, why? Why didn't you go home? That doesn't make any sense. You have created your own catastrophe. You got to use better judgment here. And then Conrad says 3 days to fly out's not enough time to sell, get rid of your things. Correct. You are correct. You may wind up retaining things and relying on people in South Africa to dispose of them for you after the fact. That's the bottom line.
And you know what? I just want to mention two things. So first was when they found us asking for
Excuse me.
about the interview and telling us about our first interviews. They actually did ask us, they gave us the location and they asked us, can you be there? Is that close to your house? Now, I'm not saying maybe that doesn't happen to everybody. Again, everybody's situation is differently. But there is time for you to tell them maybe that, hey, this location is not close to my home. Can we change it to a different location? I don't know if it's possible, but I just wanted to mention that. And the second thing is you can prepare. Like we prepared when we got our letter of, it's not actually approval letter, it's a
provisional approval.
Yes. We started preparing. We started selling stuff and advertising stuff, but we didn't actually give it to people yet and getting money in yet. We said, you're going to have to wait. When we get our flight tickets, you can come start collecting. So we prepared for it for people, you know, do you want our fridge? Yes. Okay, but you have to wait until we actually go. So start preparing, yes, but don't actually physically sell anything or leave your job until you've got the flight tickets.
We also lived in a state of, we are 4 people. If we've got 10 plates, we sell 6 plates in the meantime. We lived with the bare minimum for a long time because we got rid of what we could. And then the big stuff we sold 4 days before the time, cars, stuff like that.
It is possible. If you want to make it happen, it is possible.
No, that's really good advice, guys. Now, I think Andre or the Giant or somebody here said that they are working. I think the implications without EAD. Well, you're not working legally without an employment authorization document. That said, I do know that employers in the States, if you have a Social Security number, will oftentimes let you go to work, especially if they know you're a refugee, because refugees are granted EADs. That is not legal, however. But that's you don't need to worry about that, because it's not going to be a big issue if you get caught working. But you have to have the Social Security number. You must have a Social Security number. Otherwise, you can't work at all. And legally, you must have an employment authorization document to apply. Because, right, because as an American citizen, I can work legally. I don't need an employment authorization document. As a legal immigrant with a valid green card for permanent residency, that's an automatic employment for authorization document. As a tourist coming over here, you're not allowed to work here. As a business person coming over, you can only work for the business related to your trip and not take up employment in America. As a university student, they get employment authorization documents because they can do part-time work. But so the point here is that you have to have it. You may not have it, Andre, but that doesn't mean you're working legally. Okay? Don't worry, ICE isn't going to come looking for you. I'm just saying, you're not working legally. It's an administrative thing. But let's be clear. Let's not, and I don't think Andre was trying to mislead anybody, but let's not tell stories that have partial facts, because then we'll get these radical lunatics who live in America who seem to think they know better than me about immigration and the U.S. law, but we'll leave it at that. Anyway, so guys, okay, so you're already working, Lynn, and I guess that, Ben's just sitting around on his ass at the house doing nothing.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my drivers. I need to go for that driver's test.
I told him the other day, I'm the boss now because I'm the only one that's getting money in.
So
do you give him an allowance?
No, he does not deserve one.
Do you make him do the shopping for the groceries?
That I do, yes.
I get to clean the house, so there we go.
Oh, that's too funny. Christian Matias says, I did work till 3 days before we flew. Well, there you go, Christian. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. That's helpful. Look, the reason we do these interviews, folks, is number one, to dispel the nonsense. And by the way, for those watching the program now, the nearly 1,000 people currently watching the program, a colored family that will soon be in the United States has offered to come on the program to dispel the nonsense. We've already had the Stoltz family on last week who have some black children. And that was, I don't know, did you guys watch that interview, Ben?
I was having internet issues that day. We have found that when there are too many people at home in the building, our internet is very slow. So I saw it. I saw the thumbnail, but I couldn't watch the interview, so I'll get to that still. Okay,
well, we should also mention here, because part of the condition of the rent or the place that you're at is it includes internet, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. We took us a while to find out, but we even went as far, because it was a bit of a tricky one on that note. We went to Target to get SIM cards, and like in South Africa where it's 99 cents and you just pop it into your phone and it works, it does not work like that here. Please do not expect it to work like that. You need to buy your SIM card with data. That was $25. And then you need to get a service provider like Verizon or AT&T to activate that SIM card for you. So it's quite tricky. We haven't figured it out yet. But we found out from our caseworker, but you've got Wi-Fi. It's in your coat cupboard.
This was like 3 days later. She's like, but there's Wi-Fi. We're like, oh, we didn't know.
Well, that would have been helpful to have, you're moving in paperwork. Here's the terms of the place. Here's the rules of the house. Yeah. You can't have pets. Yeah. You can't have loud music. You got this. And oh, by the way, here's the Wi-Fi code. That would have been helpful.
Yeah.
Well,
we found it luckily, so that's helped us a lot.
Okay, well that's good to hear, but that's important to mention that. So because isn't always the norm. You don't always get Wi-Fi. Like for instance, I own a house. Well, I don't own it. The bank owns it. They're kind enough to let me pay a ridiculous amount of money to sustain it every month. But my house, as a homeowner, I have to pay for my water, for my electricity, for my rubbish removal, for my internet, for my cable, for my telephone, my property taxes, for snow removal, or I do it myself, for lawn maintenance, or I do it myself. So there's quite a bit involved here. So yeah, it's important to know. But internet doesn't usually come now. Rentals, that's a different story. Apartment buildings, oftentimes they'll give you it, but outside of that, you normally have to get your own internet. And you're right. It's good that you mentioned about mobile phones, because it's not as easy as people think. It's not like going to MTM and just sticking a SIM card. You walk out and you're on the network. A little bit different here, but you can go to Walmart. You can buy prepaid phones and put credit on there. But other things, one thing I recommend, I've already switched over to it, and that, of course, is I signed up for Pure Talk. Not advertising Pure Talk, but Pure Talk. It's $29 a month for unlimited talk, unlimited text, unlimited data. And it's pretty wild. And you get 60 gigabytes as a hotspot. So you can actually use your phone as a hotspot for 60 gigabytes. And they also give you $5. They give you $5 of credit for international calls, automatically included in your plan every month. Now that was a lifetime deal that was good through early December. The rates have changed a little bit, but I mean that's one of the providers that offers these sort of things. So just something to be aware of. But yeah, so it's not quite the same in South Africa when it comes to mobile phones. The good news though is that almost everybody's on GSM now. For a long time, we had CDMA, which is Code Division Multiple Access, and those phones were pretty much only in North America. Other people were in a few countries in Asia, but now it's all GSM, so it's pretty simple. Your phone. See, when I switched to Sprint for my business phone when I retired from the Army in 2019, it was CDMA, so I had to get a phone that was CDMA, not GSM. All my phones were GSM, and then Sprint got bought out by T-Mobile, and then they didn't use CDMA, so I had to go back to get a GSM phone. Anyway, all right. What about the kids? How are the kids adapting there, Lynn? Are they getting into it?
I've got one thing to add, which on the topic of phones, which I didn't even know. Lynn figured it out. So once you bring your cell phone from South Africa this side, your phone is set up with a Gmail account in South Africa that you created. You created that Gmail account in South Africa. Okay. Now you want to download apps in the US, it will not work. So don't worry when you go on the App Store and it says not available in your country. It's because you need to create a new Gmail account in the US so that it picks up you're in the US, and you need to move your entire phone over to that Gmail account to re-register your phone on that Gmail account. Only then it will work. Well, so it took us a while to figure that out. But
to be clear, that's if you're on Android. So if you're on Android,
yes.
So not everybody's on Android. A lot of people some people use Apple. Okay. So that's an issue that's specific for Gmail because I don't know how it works with Apple. How you change your location? It should be simpler than that. But with that's why and so I get this all the time. I'm in South Africa and there's apps I can't download because it's on a U.S. phone. But when I take my other phone, which has a South African SIM card, I can download the app. So it gets a little frustrating. Yeah. So, but one thing I do have SCOM to push on my phone.
Okay, yes.
I haven't had that app in a very, very long time.
No need for it, yeah.
Well, there's a need for me to know, so I know when people don't have power and why my viewership is so low.
Understand.
But the kids so far is adjusting okay. The teenager was a bit more difficult. As you can imagine, because he's 17 years old, well, now 18, but he was very scared to leave his friends and everything he knows and his school, all of that. But he's slowly but surely adjusting and getting there. But they're both starting school on the 5th of January because of obviously the Christmas break. So the school was closed in any case. So they're both starting the 5th of Jan. So we'll see how that adjustment goes. We haven't gotten that far yet. But as far as being here, and I think they haven't kind of realized because they're not out there, we're inside the house and they're both okay at the end of the day.
Yeah, for your for your teenager, things are going to be very different once he gets to school. Life is going to open up in so many different ways, and his adjustment, I think, will go a lot faster. He's kind of isolated right now, but being in school, he's whether he wants to open up or not, he's going to be around all these other people. It's going to be a different experience. So the school registration, how did that go? Did you handle that? Did the refugee agency help you or what?
Yeah, they helped us. They came to pick us up one day, said they're going to take these kids to the school administration building. That was very quick. They wanted to test them and all of that, but they said, "Oh, you guys can speak English." And I'm like, "Yes," and both the kids can speak English. And they said, "Okay, cool. They can, yes, a few schools to choose from." And they obviously said to us, "Choose these schools because then you'll get a bus with these schools. If the school is too close, then to your home, then they won't be able to drive the bus." And we chose like each kid a school, and they did everything for us basically. Registered the kids, everything.
And the kids, they even got bags. Each child got a bag with some stationery and some just to help them once they start school. So you even get a little backpack full of stationery and stuff like that.
Yeah. So now the 5th of Jan, we obviously just have to go in with them, and then they're on their own, basically. from the next morning.
One of the questions came up in the chat here is one that's come up many, many times over the months, but we've already kind of answered it in this broadcast. You guys didn't know where you're going till the end. So when you went through the interview process, did you know anyone in the States? Do you have any family or any friends here? Did you indicate a place you'd like to go or not? Because obviously you didn't pick Milwaukee.
We didn't. We don't know anybody here. And when they asked, is there kind of a area that you would like to go to, we didn't mention anything. We were happy to basically just get out of South Africa. So we didn't say, hey, no, we want to go there and there and there, or we want to live close to the sea or something like that. We chose not to say anything or ask for that.
So we came over here with the mindset of we will go wherever they put us, and we will get back on our feet. We are not here to take advantage of the program. We want to get on our own feet, and then we will move to a state that we want to be in. But they know where to place you. They know where you'll fit in, and we are trusting the program, and we are making the program work for us, which it's been working so far. And then we'll get on our feet. We'll find jobs. Well, Lynn has, but we'll work and we'll do our own thing in due time.
Well, speaking of which, that raised an interesting question. Lynn, what sort of work do you do, if you don't mind sharing? And is it what you did in the past, or is it something new? And for Ben, we know that you're just sitting on your bum doing nothing, but eventually you're going to go back to work. What did you used to work in? What field? And what are you applying for? So Lynn, go first.
Yes, I'm still in the same field. I'm mostly in logistics. So I got the same kind of job in logistics that I do. So I'm very happy about that. And then Ben?
So what I was in sales and I've got some IT background as well. And the minute I knew things were different, the side was, funnily enough, when we went to go buy the vehicle, I went to the owner and I introduced myself to the owner, and I said to him, I'm going to be very, very forward, but I want to work here. This is my situation. This is where I'm from. This is where we're at. I want to work. I don't care if I have to sweep your floors or mop the floors or make you coffee. I want to work. And he said to me, I'm more than happy to give you a job. Get your driver's license. I need a parts driver, and I'm more than happy to give you an opportunity here. Didn't ask me anything else. Didn't care about my background. He saw that I wanted to work.
But Ben, I mean, how will we find work in America? There's no jobs. It's I mean, you guys already have one job, and she hasn't even been here a month, and you have a job offer, and if you had the license, instead of sitting at home on your bum, you'd already have the job.
100%. No, there is work if you are not picky, and you don't mind doing starting from the bottom again. There is work, I promise you.
Now,
and that's exactly what Ben did. He walked up to the owner and said, I'm willing to do anything. Just, give me a job. And he said, get your license and I'll give you something. So you just have to, you
just got to have a little drive. But, I think here's a little secret, guys. What you don't know is Lynn contacted me and she asked me to ask these questions so we get Ben out of the house. No, I'm just teasing.
Thank you.
Hey, Lynn, but seriously, just joking aside, I'll pick on Ben a little bit more, but no, I'll stop now, but we'll bring more later. But so Lynn, did your job come with any benefits? Do you get like a 401 retirement plan? Do you get medical care? Do you get holidays? Do you get overtime? Are there any benefits came with the job? I mean, if you work at Starbucks, you get free college education, you get stock in the company. So, I mean, I don't know where you're working. Do you get any benefits?
I do. I get a 401. As far as I know, I don't have health, but we haven't gone through all the details yet. But we do get health benefits from the program at the moment, so I didn't think of asking that. And then obviously holidays and so on. I don't have anything yet, but I'm sure that will obviously come with time. Sorry.
No, that's quite all right. So, it's, I mean, I got to ask you these questions, Ben and Lynn. When you went to employment, were they not concerned that their BEE score would drop?
No.
Not at all.
It's very different. Everything is very different. And with even this, the benefits and everything, we are still also learning everything that's different between South Africa and here. I mean, in South Africa, you just get a job. Most of the time, you don't get, medical aid or anything like that. So it was quite different learning, what you get from this job or what, everything is different. Even here, you get post where we didn't get post in South Africa, literally like post in your post box. So that we're still learning that and knowing everything. You go check your post box. So we're still getting used to all the 401k and the medical benefits, and yeah, it's all very different.
So back on the school question, obviously your 4-year-old is just starting out. I don't know, probably kindergarten or something like that. So that's not really germane. Yeah. But for your teenager who's 17, just turned 18, now we're in the middle of an academic year, which is a different academic year than you have. Your year starts in January, if I'm not mistaken. Ours starts in September. So is he repeating where he was at in high school back in South Africa, or has he moved on to a next grade?
So he's actually not repeating, luckily, in his case. So he would have done his matric in South Africa now this year. So he's also going to do his last year from May month. So he's basically going to be in grade 11 until May. And then from May, from August, September, when the school starts, he'll do his last year.
All right. So for him, he basically has a year and about 5 months before he finishes high school. So, but I mean, look, I think that's going to give him an advantage. That's going to give him time to acclimate and get adjusted, not have to worry about entering the workforce. And by then, you guys should be well established. And whether you stay in Milwaukee or you decide to move to somewhere where the wiper blades don't get torn on your windscreen.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, let me ask you this question: you've got a vehicle, so you had a chance to get around and see anything in Milwaukee, or see kind of where you're at, or drive around, see anything at all?
Yes, we have.
We took a drive to Michigan Lake. I've never seen so much water in a lake in my life. It looks like the ocean. The lake has waves. A lake should not have waves.
So me and Ben are in an argument here because it's very strange. And yes, it's Michigan Lake technically, but when you go to Michigan Lake, the lakeside, it's very calm water. It's very beautiful. It's a lake, right? Okay. Then about 10 minutes drive away from that part of the lake, you get to a beach, and it's literally beach waves, but it's the same water. It's the same water, but there's waves.
But it's clean. Yeah. Everything here is clean. The roads are pretty bad on our side, but the rest of town, there's no potholes. Everything is clean. It works. The buses are always on time. I mean, that's something as well amazing to me, how it's always on time. We've seen a bit of the town, and it's beautiful. There's art. They're very artistic in town. Everything, there's murals painted everywhere, and it really is something to experience. It's really beautiful when you can see they're trying to make the city look nice for the residents of the city, which is not something we're used to.
So I'm going to help you both out with something, Lynn, before you jump in here, okay? It's not Michigan Lake. It's Lake Michigan, okay?
Lake Michigan, okay.
Also, while you're impressed at how large it is, it's not even the largest of the Great Lakes. Lake Superior,
it's big.
Lake Superior is like twice as big as Lake Michigan.
Yeah, it's big.
That's fine, fair enough. But yeah, so I'm telling Ben, like, that's Lake Michigan, and that's the beach. But he keeps telling me, but it's both Lake Michigan. And I'm like, yes, but you can't call that one Lake Michigan. That's the beach.
Same water.
Massive argument in our household.
There you go. Well, of course.
But yes, we have done some exploring, and it's very different. It's very beautiful.
So Milwaukee, of course, was famously where a lot of Germans settled. There's a huge German population that settled in Milwaukee, and it was very well known for beer, exactly, for its breweries. That kind of took a hit during Prohibition when alcohol was banned in America, but it's still pretty well known for that. But it used to have a lot of really famous breweries that went under during the Prohibition era. But Milwaukee's well known for that. And of course, Wisconsin does have some recent immigrants besides yourselves from other parts of the world. But it's kind of, in many ways, a pretty homogenous sort of state with a lot of Anglo-Saxon, but Northern European settlers who came there. But you still have some Native Americans there as well in Wisconsin. And of course, there's the military. You've got Fort McCoy in Wisconsin, which is a place I used to go to frequently. Now, you came in December, so when you get around to March or April, I think it's going to be quite exciting for you as the weather begins to break and it gets warmer there.
And the biggest music festival is also this side. I forget the name now, but there's a very big music festival which we are excited to visit. Me, excited to see that as well. But yeah, it is. Even the buildings, you could tell it's rustic. It's
very old.
Yeah.
Milwaukee is very old. The buildings are old. It's very outdated, but it's still very beautiful.
If you have seen the series Shameless, it feels like we are driving through Shameless. The houses look exactly. It's Chicago, so very close to Chicago. So it is quite an experience because I love that show. So driving past these houses, seeing it, it's quite surreal.
Cool beans. All right, so Christmas. How did that go for you guys? Did you manage to get a tree and did the kids get gifts?
Yes, that's actually another funny story. So obviously when we got here, we said, look, we want to get a tree because it's not going to feel very Christmassy, but let's at least get a tree. So I obviously go on Amazon, and now again, where we would measure things in meters, everything is feet here. And I go and I look at Christmas trees, and this Christmas tree say, I think it was 6 or 7 feet. And I go Google, how much is this feet in meters? And it tells me it's like 2 meters. And I'm like, okay, that's a pretty standard Christmas tree. I'm going to get that Christmas tree. It got you. It's the tallest Christmas tree I've ever seen. So I don't know if Google was misleading me or what happened, but the Christmas tree almost
reaches the ceiling.
Yeah, it's a very tall Christmas tree. It has lights on already. So look, I don't know if you get it in South Africa, but we never saw it in South Africa. So the Christmas tree that side, you have to put on lights. These Christmas tree, they've got lights on already. But yeah, so we got the Christmas tree. We did get the kids obviously each a present, and Christmas Day was obviously very different for us because we were alone. But we made lunch and we enjoyed the day with the family. It didn't snow on Christmas Day, unfortunately. But yeah, it started snowing yesterday, 2 days ago.
2 days ago, yeah.
Sorry, just my Zoom acted up there. No, it snowed here last night. So we got snow last night. So a little bit of snow, but not much. It's kind of a dusting. But we've had a couple good snowfalls already, but just that one. So there's a comment in here. I don't know if someone asked a question. I noticed in the chat people talking about a CV, curriculum vitae versus a resume. Someone said that we don't use CVs in America. That's incorrect. Resume is a standard, but that's for blue collar work and for shift work and things like that. White collar employees oftentimes use a CV. If you're going to go apply to be the president or CEO or managing director of some sort of corporation, you are going to submit a curriculum vitae format, not a resume. A resume is a very different abbreviated sort of thing, which so we have both, but most people are going to wind up doing a resume unless you're a person in a white collar profession. But yeah, we have both here in America. So. And by the way, and I should correct things. So that's their Christmas tree that came from Amazon, which was probably made in China, by the way. But obviously, that's a relatively new development. Christmas trees that come with lights built on them. It's still very common to get a tree that doesn't have lights on it. For a long time, I had a bias against those trees because, my experience with Christmas lights, if one darn bulb burns out, then the rest of the line is dead. And sometimes you replace a bulb and it doesn't fix it. So now you have a tree where half the lights don't work. What's the purpose there? But I've noticed that they've become much more reliable and that those lights stay on. But anyway, it's a risk you take. So I kind of traditionally prefer one that doesn't have the pre-lit tree. I just, I like to put my own lights and decorations on it. But again, I'm also a person that my first couple Christmases when I was an adult, my Christmas tree were the branches I picked up at the lot where they sold trees, and I just carry them away for free and put them in a vase and put water in there and put decorations on it. And that was my Christmas tree. So anyway, but I'm kind of frugal like that. Anyway, yeah. So guys, let's see. What are you hoping for this year? I mean, I imagine a few things. You can't hope to come to America. That's already happened.
So I think just to get on our feet, we want to be self-sufficient. We don't want to rely on the program forever. So just to be self-sufficient, and I think that's our short-term goal, is to be self-sufficient. Get back on our feet, because it's still difficult. I mean, everything has been going well for us, but it is still difficult. I mean, you get your good days and you get your bad days. You still miss home. I mean, it sounds strange, but I still miss home. It doesn't mean because I'm in America, I don't miss my friends or my family, or so just trying to get over that speed bump as well of not missing home is, for me, something that I'm trying to achieve. And we are struggling to find all the shops that we need to get everything, spices, for instance, just to get a bit more comfortable with the area. So yeah, that's my short-term goal. I don't know about Lynn, what she wants to achieve.
Very different. No. But it's mainly just to get used to everything. Used to get like I said earlier, like now you get everything through post. And in our family, I'm mostly the one that takes care of the bills and get everything sorted and organized. So that is very scary for me. So I want to get that under my knee. It sounds silly, but that is my biggest goal, to understand the post situation and to get all the apps, used to the apps. Because I've learned some tricks that you can get coupons on some apps. So I'm very into that at the moment. So I want to obviously just get used to that. And I think just to get used to everything that is very different, because everything is different. And
to get used to the food. We're trying to get used to the food. It's different here, which is something I didn't expect. So trying to get used to the food is also something we need to get used to very quickly.
Yeah, so I won't say big goals, but small ones. Yeah.
Small steps.
Well, I really appreciate your candor there, Ben, because I try in these interviews to make sure that we are honest about what's happening. And I really appreciate the candor about, you're not home, you miss home. There are some things are difficult. Some days are good days, some days are bad days, even though you've had a very good experience. I really appreciate that. And people need to realize that picking up stakes and moving halfway across the world is a challenge, no matter whether you do it in 1625 or you do it in 2025. It's a challenge. Thankfully, in 2025, it's a hell of a lot easier than it was in 1625 when my ancestor, or 1621 when my ancestors came to Jamestown. There was no Amazon, there was no cars, there was no roads. They were getting murdered by the Indians. That's right. Yeah, exactly. So it's very different. But some of the things just don't change at all. I mean, we didn't cover this if you guys are people of faith, if you found a church or something like that, but that's also an issue for a lot of people. Or if you have pets, that's an issue for a lot of people. That a lot of South Africans have pets. But I mean, when you move around the world, and I can say this with authority, I've lived in 16 foreign countries. That's at least 16 moves, and actually it's more like 18 because I moved to Germany 3 times. That's 18 times I've moved to a foreign country in my lifetime, and I appreciate the concerns. Now, to be fair, I was in a much better situation. I didn't pay to ship my goods. I didn't worry about my visas because I was in the military or a diplomat. That was all taken care of.
Yeah.
And when I was a diplomat, I couldn't just live where I wanted. The embassy had to approve it. So you got assistance from the embassy to put you in a housing pool. But still, all the other things, the food is different, the people are different, the manners, the behavior is different. Do people tip? Do they not tip? What can I expect? People in Southern Africa driving the wrong damn side of the road. I got to deal with that as well. So you guys can imagine when I was in Botswana, I would drive to work in my left-hand Toyota 4Runner, which is like a Fortuner, but with a real engine, a V8, 474 horsepower. Yeah, so I would drive with my left-handed automatic transmission to the embassy, park my vehicle, and get out and climb in my Land Cruiser with right-hand drive and a standard transmission. and I'm left-handed, so it's not always so easy to adjust using that hand to shift, even though it's my dominant hand. And then I drive out. And so look, I mean, there's always things. And I appreciate the candor because some people gloss over it and say, oh, it's just wonderful. It isn't always wonderful. There will be things 20 years from now you'll be learning. Now, your toddler I'll forget about everything. He'll be American from a standpoint of the culture and everything. Your teenager will still have those memories and still think back about that. But you guys 20 years from now are going to be like, do we really do that here in America? I mean, it's like we always talk about America in Germany as soldiers overseas. We call America the land of round doorknobs because Americans have a lot of round doorknobs where you turn the doorknob like this instead of a handle like the Europeans have. So, so that's a distinction that people forget about. But I think it's going very well for you. You guys said you have no regrets. It's been a fascinating thing. Ben is looking forward to getting to work and getting that license. And then Lynn is smiling as I said that. But so do you guys see yourself? I mean, it's early. It's unfair to ask you this question, but I'll ask anyway because a lot of people have been moving around once they get here. Do you think you'll be in Milwaukee a long time, or are you going to stay there at least long enough to get settled, get all your benefits, get accustomed to life, and then make a decision later on?
We're discussing that at the moment.
Are you discussing it because of the cold?
Yes.
I knew it.
100%
I knew it.
It is very cold. Guys, if I tell you, I've had some cold days in South Africa. I have never experienced cold like this cold. I mean, I went out yesterday to go have a little snowball fight with my little one. I got back into the house. My fingers were burning through the gloves from the cold. So it's different.
I'm laughing, sorry, because in South Africa, this man was always, I don't like summer, I just like winter. Yeah. And when we learned, obviously, we're coming this side, I said, you don't realize how cold it is. Like, it's a different cold. Yeah. And he was like, no, I'm going to love it. It's going to be the best. And now he's the one complaining. Let me just say that. Like, he complains so much about the cold. It's not even funny. But yeah, on the note of moving, I don't think Milwaukee is for us, unfortunately. So we will be looking at moving. I can't say when yet. I don't know if it will be in a year's time or 3 months' time. But unfortunately, Milwaukee is not for us.
But that's just because you guys don't like the cold. That's what it's all about. Well, look,
the other day it was minus 30. Minus 30. That's not normal.
Oh, it is in Alaska.
But not for me. But yeah, we will definitely look at moving somewhere else. I don't know where yet.
So you guys obviously didn't know my channel a few years ago when we got like about 1.5 meters of snow, and I was out walking around because I used to exercise, in the morning for 1.5 hours, in the evening for 1 hour, 1.5 hours every day. I'd walk for up to 3 hours, and I would live stream because South Africans didn't know the snow. But guess what I was always wearing?
Springboks. Short pants.
Oh no!
We saw that yesterday at Target. We went to the shop and it was snowing. Like snow was falling out of the sky, and there's people walking around in short pants.
And we from South Africa, we can't even do it. We're like, hell no! It's too cold. The other day I was wearing, it's like a ski pants, exercise pants. I don't know what you call it. But it's not very thick. So I don't know what I was thinking, but my legs, it was frozen. It was frozen.
Yeah, and we when we just got here, we had to get some groceries. So we took the bus and we walked. And then my little one was getting tired, so I put him on my shoulders and I was carrying bags, and then I slipped on some black ice on the pavement and I fell. But that's one thing I realized here. I mean, I fell on the sidewalk. Luckily, he didn't get hurt. Somebody stopped and they said, listen, can I please take you wherever you need to go? I said, we're literally going across the street, but we can't walk anymore. We keep falling. So she let us get in her car, and then she took us to Target. That's when we decided we need a car.
Oh, so
very different.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Obviously when you're in South Africa, you hear about snow and you talk about snow and you want to see the snow. You don't actually realize with snow, there comes ice. And with ice comes falling.
And on the road, sliding. You need to learn how to drive in the snow and ice. You got to be very extra cautious there. A lot of people that don't know how to drive in ice and snow, when they start to slide, they steer into it and then lose control. You have to steer out of it. Yeah, I mean, so you have to steer into it, not out of it. People overreact and they start to slide. The back end slides, and so they'll turn the wheel to the left, and now you got to go the opposite direction. And that fights friction against, and it keeps you straight. So when you're driving on ice, you steer into it, and that'll straighten you out. But a lot of people don't know that. Now, a lot of people panic. They hit the brakes. That's why they invented ABS, the anti-lock braking system, because people who hit ice, especially black ice, will stomp on the brakes, and then all you do is slide because you've locked up the brakes. So you have no traction. But anti-lock brakes will help with that. I hate anti-lock brakes because I actually know how to drive in snow and ice, and it's kind of annoying for me. So anyway. But
luckily, the guy when we bought the car, he explained the tires to me. I never knew this. I just thought you get tires. I mean,
no. You have mud and snow tires, which are all season.
All seasons, and so you need to make sure you get the.
Told you actually.
Yes, you told me. So when you do buy a vehicle this side, please make sure to ask questions about the tires, and don't buy a vehicle without all season tires. You will struggle.
Yep. There's people, and Mike has been updating us on the rugby score. Osprey defeat Cardiff 33-22. Cardiff scored 3 tries in the last 10 minutes, and that's all great. They get a bonus point. That doesn't help me. I picked Cardiff and I picked the Scarlets. Both of them let me down. Welsh rugby always disappoints me. So my Super Brew is screwed this weekend. I start out 0-2 on New Year's Day. I already made a mistake in my news broadcast. I falsely claimed that a Washington Post reporter was spreading propaganda. I was mistaken. I was the one who was wrong. So the day is not going very well for me. So I'm glad we've had this conversation, because at least something's going well. Yikes, my goodness. Not been a good start to the new year. I can honestly say I've already made a mistake in the new year, picking freaking Cardiff and picking the Scarlets to win the game. Oh, my goodness. Or no, I picked the Dragons to win the game. Sorry, the Scarlets won the game. Yeah, I picked the Dragons. Anyway, guys, sports. Are you guys sports fans? I mean, do you follow, cricket, rugby, anything?
Rugby a little bit, but not massively, because when we were that side, DSTV got too expensive to afford, so basically lost interest in rugby because I couldn't afford watching it. So not that much of a sport fan, but we are in a state where baseball and American football is big, so we will definitely be going to see a game soon. As soon as it warms up a little bit, we'll take the little one and the teenager to go watch some baseball.
Yeah, that'll be the Milwaukee Brewers are a pretty popular team. Brewers been around for a long time, and then you've probably got a minor league.
Very close to the stadium.
Yeah, there's probably a minor league baseball team around there somewhere too. I haven't looked to see yet, but minor league is nice. You guys should consider that. Minor league is a lot of fun, especially when you got little kids, because the minor leagues, in order to attract people to parks, they make them family friendly. They do lots of stuff between the innings and before the game and after the game with kids. Okay. Sometimes you get to run the bases, which kids love to do. So you should really look into a minor league baseball game, so not just major league. And I think you'll find that. All right, guys, it's very kind of you to spend your time with me today. I really appreciate it. And I have to make a new thumbnail. If you guys don't mind sending me a photograph of yourselves, I can make a proper thumbnail with you guys on it if you want. If it's just you, if it's the whole family, that's your prerogative. If you want, whichever. But I just put up a random image on this because I wasn't sure, and we were still chatting to set it all up. But if you send me that, I'll update it so people can see it. And let me just before we wrap up, I'll give each of you a chance here. Lynn seems more chatty, and since she's the breadwinner at the moment, we're going to give her the last word. So Ben, anything you want to share with people about the experience, about people, about patience, the portal? Is it going to happen? Trust the process, as Lily likes to say. Whatever the case is, support when you get here. Expectations, and any advice or you'd like to offer to people just about your experience and what they can expect.
Yeah. So my experience was. I can tell you one thing. This experience has brought me very much closer to God. All I could do on that side was pray. I left it in God's hands, and we prayed every day for the best outcome, for what is meant for us. So be patient. If you are religious, leave it in God's hands. He knows what's best. And once you do come over here, be prepared to get a culture shock, because you might think that South Africa is westernized. We are, but you are completely wrong. Everything is different this side. I never expected it to be this different. It is different. It's going to be weird and strange seeing things work that you pay tax money for. Everything works, the work ethic here as well. You could see when you go into a shop, people are there to help you. They are there to assist you. very nice to experience that. But be prepared to start from scratch, because you're going to start from scratch. And just how can I put this? Take it day by day, and just be prepared. That's all you can do, is be prepared to the best of your ability and enjoy the journey. Because looking back now, I wish I would have stopped stressing so much and just enjoyed the journey a little bit more. But I stressed and worried, and I didn't enjoy the journey because it was overwhelming. And yes, while you're on that side, enjoy time with your family, enjoy your food, and make the most of your time while you are still there. Because once you come over, life is different. Yeah, it's better, but it's different. That's my advice. That's what I wish somebody would have told me, is just enjoy your time while you're still there with your family, because you do miss them pretty quickly. I promise you that.
All right, Lynn, your turn. Give us a little feedback. Ben, I think that was brilliant. I'm going to probably make a short out of that. I think that was great advice. Let's see if Lynn can top you.
I definitely will not be able to top that, because I think you said it perfectly. But I do also want to add that I think, yes, obviously be prepared to struggle, because when you get there, you get here with nothing. You don't have anything on you, and you will quickly think, oh, I miss home, or I made a mistake. All I want to say is just hang in there. It will get better. It will get easier. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. But I think, yes, what Ben said as well, just when you're that side and waiting for an answer, just stop stressing. I know it is very stressful, because even when people told me, or when I listened to your videos and you said, like, calm down, don't worry about the portal, I did. And just like Ben said, enjoy your time there, enjoy your things, move on with your life, carry on with your life as it should be, and you will get your answer when you will have to get it. But I also want to mention a big thing is make sure your relationship with your husband or wife is strong, because when you get here, it will test that relationship, because it's very difficult. Yesterday, I had a very off day where I was very down. I just had a very difficult day to deal with everything that is happening right now in our lives. Even though it's great, it's very hard. So I did get my off day. And we had to kind of test our relationship. He had to stand in for me. He had to keep the kids busy. He had to understand I'm not doing great. So, just make sure.
Be sure.
I don't know how to say it.
I think what she's trying to say is, once you do this, you need to realize there's not just when you get here and you get into a fight, you're not going to get into your car and go to your friend's house and cool down. You are in this together, and you're going to drive each other mad at home, because you are going to be at home for a while. And just be sure to have a very, very strong relationship with your partner that you are coming over with.
All right, so I wasn't just imagining that separation when you guys were so far apart at the beginning of the stream. I had to keep forcing you back together here. All right, so see, being an intelligence analyst pays off.
One word of advice is, when you get an opportunity to braai some meat and have some biltong and have some dry horse and have some brandy, you take that opportunity and you eat it, because you are not going to get it this side, and I miss my biltong.
Oh, you can get biltong here, but it's not the same. I'm not talking about beef jerky. I'm talking about biltong. There's actually biltong available in America. You can buy it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some South Africans who produce it over here, but it's not quite the same. And some of it gets imported, but that's going to be very expensive with the tariffs now.
Yeah.
Professor G is in the stream. He says, no one said it would be easy, but y'all have been strong and doing what needs to be done. Proud of everyone who has come here and put in the work, not looking for handouts. Likewise, I'd agree 100%. Guys, I wish you all the very best. But now I'm going to be a little selfish before I let you go. All right. So I believe, based on what you said in the conversation, you weren't aware of my program until a TikTok video. When did you see that TikTok video?
I'd say just.
It was probably in May.
Early May, I'd say, roundabout.
Okay. All right. Okay, so that's when you became aware of my channel. Have you been watching it regularly since then?
Colonel, while you're on this topic, I think me and my family need to thank you and Prof G, because you guys have carried us through this process like you cannot believe. Every night at my house, 6 o'clock, everyone knew it's time for Colonel Wyatt. Whenever Prof G uploaded a video, we followed the instructions to the T. You guys are doing God's work. You are helping people with frustration that they can't handle, worrying, stressing, and you guys are there giving advice and helping everyone. So thank you and Prof G for doing what you guys are doing, because you are helping a lot of people. I don't think you realize that.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure. The frustration for me is I've been doing it for 6 years. And it was such, the shadow banning was so intense that many people didn't even know about it. Although people knew me all over South Africa, which is fine and interesting. But listen, one quick question. Do you guys watch Ronaldo?
I've seen a video or two, but not intensely.
Okay. As long as you're not watching Ronaldo, we're okay. But I'm going to have to go out on a limb and forgive you for watching Professor G. I think that's an egregious offense. But you've been gracious guests, and so I'm not going to chastise you about watching Professor G. When Professor G finally does live streams with me, then I'll start talking nicely about him.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think Professor G relies on, he's like those singers that aren't really good live. They're good in the studio. I think Professor G isn't good live. He's only good in the studio because of all the editing. It makes him look so sexy.
All the editing,
and it fixes his voice and everything. I'll bet you when he's live, it's kind of a disaster. I'm just saying.
We'll have to test and see.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time on New Year's. You're very welcome. What a way to start the year. And listen, Lynn.
Yeah.
Lynn, there will be times he drives you nuts. I mean, you've obviously been together for some time. All right. And as he indicated, there's no cousins, there's no friends to run off to. And besides, doing that in South Africa is dangerous. You have to get on the road to go somewhere. So here, you could always hop in the car and go for a drive and go to a park or something like that, walk around and come back. So just keep that in mind. But guys, I love that aspect that you shared, is that when you talk about your partner or your spouse, is that there are frustrations, and sometimes one of you senses the frustrations, the other one doesn't, and that causes discord. Sometimes you both have the frustration, and that causes discord. And then sometimes, somebody just won't turn the TV off and go to bed, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, but the bottom line, guys, is that that's part of life, and I appreciate the way that you guys approach it. I want to wish you both and your kids the best of a 2026, and I open the door and offer for you to come back on the program a few months down the road if you'd like, and tell us where you're at. You can hear for how your son, how school is going. Ben will finally be working in 7 or 8 or 10 months from now, so, Anyway, all right, guys, God bless and have a happy New Year. I'll let you drop off, okay?
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that's Ben and Lynn in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Professor G in here in the chat. So thanks, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed that conversation. Short notice, we have another refugee coming on tomorrow, and we'll have that posted up here shortly. I've got some other work to do. But nice couple, and I think their heads screwed on straight. And I do appreciate that we did suss out that not everything is kumbaya. It isn't all roses and champagne. But there are a few challenges people must go through. You're undertaking something very big. Once again, let me be clear. This channel is not a refugee channel. I'm not promoting anyone leaving South Africa. I'm not advocating for anyone leaving South Africa. I'm heartbroken. I'm crestfallen. I'm gobsmacked. I'm apoplectic that South Africans feel the need to leave South Africa. But I understand fully. I've been to South Africa so many, many, many times, and I've lived in the region. And I do understand the struggles that South Africans go through, and I appreciate their concerns. That said, if you're interested in the refugee program and you want to know about what's really happening, this is the place to come. We do a refugee cafe clutch every Sunday where I answer every question I possibly can, even if it's been asked a million times. I try to be patient with it. We'll answer refugee questions after the news when we do news broadcast. And on Night Owls, I answer refugee questions out of the blue. You're welcome to ask them. You can also go check out Professor G and his prepared videos. He does a lot of content on this. Now, he's an asylum attorney here in the States and a university professor. I'm not an attorney, but I was a university professor, and I'm a judge. But that's a different sort of judge. So check out Professor G's videos as well. And thanks for being here, Professor G, popping in on us. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it already. There were a few super chats. Let me go back and make sure I address them. I don't want to leave here and leave people without having their super chat addressed. There weren't many of them, so I'm not going to have to spend much time on it. Just a couple super chats. Let me get to those, so I don't want to miss out on having missed anybody here. So where are we at here? Okay, so we had 4 super chats. Said Matthew Dixon says, Ben literally described his situation, was literally denied work because he's white. Only thing stopped me from applying was me wondering if I have a case and if I was worth applying. Matthew, I think the reason that you couldn't get the job is they discovered you were a troll. That's what it really was. Boki Bafoki said, is it possible to give someone a power of attorney to close your house to sell after you left? That question was answered by a few people in the chat, so I didn't get to it, Boki, but the answer is yes. And he asked another question. Any advice you can continue your South African job in USA whilst you're waiting for work permits? They have people working in Pennsylvania, so I presume I'd get a transfer. You talking about a South African firm with business in America? It's up to your employer how that's handled. And Monster Max said, just for interest, what car did they buy? I didn't ask that question. My apologies for that, Monster Max. Let me ask him real quick. Let me ask him. Hang on. There you go, guys. There you go. There you go. No, I was keeping the sound quiet while I was putting the picture together. You didn't hear all that admin stuff. You didn't hear all the admin stuff when I was putting together. So anyway, here is the actual car. There you go. There you go. No, I knew I was talking to myself, Alan. I didn't want you to hear everything I had to say. If you read lips, you can do that. That's their car. That's a Ford Explorer. Check it out. Wow. Exactly. People panic, man. They panic over the sound. They panic over what's with sexual orientation? Why are people talking about sexual orientation? What's that all about? Exactly. Charles said, you'll see him look at this when he's finished. I was doing background work. You didn't need me doing all the stuff. You don't need a tax clearance. What are you talking about? You're not returning to visit your family, Nick Smith. You're not returning to visit your family, so you don't need a tax clearance. No, you can't go back. Nope. Anyway, that's his car. What do you guys think? Thank you, Strutton. Hang on, folks. Exactly. Well, why are people talking about sexual orientation? I didn't get that. My goodness, you guys are really freaking out about sound. Anyway, there you go. I had to do a lot of steps to make that picture. I wanted to cover up his license plate, so it took a while to do all that, guys. So that's why. Anyway. Okay, so then we'll see you guys freaking out over the sound. Okay, we're good now. Yeah, they use Ford Explorers for cops, but they come with a bigger engine, with a better suspension system, more powerful brakes, and all kinds of stuff on them. Yep, and computers. You don't need a tax clearance for a green card. It has nothing to do. No, it's not a dumb question, Orangutan Juice. It's a fair question. You don't need a tax clearance. Why would U.S. authorities care about a tax clearance? Will we want one from Somalia? Guys, you got to stop thinking like that. If you're a refugee, you're a refugee, okay? What happens to debt you left behind in South Africa? Well, you're responsible for it. There is legal reciprocity between the United States and South Africa, but the U.S. Customs Immigration, to my knowledge, doesn't care about your debt. That's not a problem. We're giving you refugee status because there's an issue. So that's the problem. Let me just turn off this green screen in the background here real quick. So now we're turning this into a question and answer session. Video. There we go. All right, now we're back to that. Yeah, so that's unrelated. You guys need to come on a Sunday Cafe Clutch and ask your questions. Yeah, if you have a criminal conviction for not paying your debt, you're not going to green card. So you've got a moral obligation to pay your debt, folks. That's the bottom line. Yep. Show the car again? Okay, sure. I'll show the car again. Now I've got to pull it up. I closed it. Give me a second here. Here's the car. Excuse me. Excuse me. Here's the car. Exactly. I think Jackson May has made the right statement. What do you do about debt? You make arrangements to pay it off. 100%. You have a moral obligation. You borrowed that money from somebody. You should pay it back. Well, you can't hear me, before, then you need to refresh your page. It's a nice car. What else is here? Land Rover, just like my little dad. People are like that because they think they're missing something and out of the loop when there's no sound. Yeah, I got you, Bram. Hey, Bram Janssen from Lensborg. I'm guessing who that is. If returning saw that visit SARS, will list you or your goods can't be shipped to any country without a tax. Nick Smith, I don't know what you're talking about. You're not going back to South Africa unless it's a urgent situation. You're not visiting family. This isn't a holiday destination. It's not a holiday destination. So, yeah, that's not applicable. Not going to happen. So, hey, Willem, what's going on? What are the headphones for? Are you serious? Were you not watching the interview that just took place? Gee, many crickets. Oh, my goodness. We're not supposed to be continuing with this now. It's supposed to be done, but people started asking questions after my interview, so I had the courtesy to hang around. And you're asking me why I got headphones on because I just did an interview. You guys don't know much about the internet. You get reverb. Alan says, that's why I bought everything with cash, sold my property for a good profit. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but that won't work in America. when you need money, and you're not going to have $500,000 to buy a house, when you need money, you won't be able to get money because you don't have a credit history. So that's okay, Martin. You must have come in late. Well, this is an interview with Refugee. We just ended like 5 minutes ago, and I was shutting down. So, but people are asking questions, so no need to apologize. If anything, I should apologize to you for being snippy. No, I just did an interview. This was a Refugee interview. I guess you just saw I was live and came on, so that's cool. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Wonder Chat, thank you. I don't know what that means, Wonder Chat. What does Wonder Chat mean? A chance for your kids here. We get statement. Okay. Arctic's friend nearly got into crap over a medical bill he never received before leaving. The next thing, he had a judgment against him. Yeah, you got to be careful about that. No, look, I had a bad story when it comes to that. I had Sprint for a calling card back in the 1980s. That Sprint calling card, when I left for Germany to go there, I canceled my Sprint account and I kept the calling card, which is still valid, but there's nothing on it. But I had Sprint for long distance because you used to have a local carrier and you pay for long distance. Sprint was my long distance provider because they were much more affordable. I canceled my Sprint long distance service. I called them. They confirmed the cancellation. They told me the amount that was left. I sent them a check for it. They cashed the check. A year later, I got a collection notice threatening my credit history and a judgment against me for like $5 and some 60 cents or something like that. I didn't know them $5.60. I had a confirmation the account was closed. They didn't close it, and there were fees, even though it wasn't in use. There were like taxes that went on the account. So they billed me for 2 months out. Then they sent me a year later a collection notice threatening my credit history because I didn't pay the bill. That was a nightmare. It was unbelievable. And thankfully, Sprint was still in business then. They hadn't gotten out of business, so I was able to resolve this. But, I mean, you got to be careful with things like that. Your goods can't leave without a tax clearance to another destination. Well, who's shipping goods, Dick? Most of these people have nothing but the shirts on their back and a suitcase. But, okay, I get your point. If you're rich and you can afford to pay a container to ship your stuff to America, you can't get out unless you have a tax clearance. Good advice, Nick. I think that's your point. You should have been more clear in that. That's what you're trying to say. That doesn't affect most of these people. Son lives in Texas, American lady I asked to go to Texas. Will that realize? Daniel Keyser, are you asking me, will that happen? I think you're speaking Afrikaans in English. No guarantees, possibly. More than likely it will happen. Assuming that your son and his wife want you there. They will ask them if they can support you or if it's okay if you come there. It's up to them. People make stupid statements because they read headlines I've heard from a friend's friend. Yeah, no, I know, Joe. I'm constantly defeating that nonsense, like the lady who's supposedly coming back to South Africa, which is utter nonsense. Yep, always fighting that nonsense. It's a challenge. We will just be going with our suitcases. Exactly, Babyface says. But make sure you don't have any debts. Clear your debts, folks. That's important. So with an embassy, when we leave an embassy, we have to show final payment on everything. If we're paying for our mobiles, if we had a service for like television, DSTV, we got to show that at the embassy that we don't have any debt. And some of them don't make you do that, but you'll get a bill after the fact, and you got to leave money behind sometimes in an account so it can be paid for. Yeah, no, they're very serious about it. The last thing I want is an American diplomat leaving a country owing debt to someone. Yep. If you rent your house out when I come to America, what must I do? Reference tax. I have no idea, Kathleen. What tax? You're going to have income from South Africa? Well, you're going to have to file that income with the IRS when you're here. If you have income in South Africa, you have to tell the IRS. There's reciprocal agreements, so if you pay tax on it in South Africa, you'll get a credit for paying tax here. I have dividends in Switzerland. I have stocks in Switzerland, Japan, Germany, UK. At least. I think that's all I have foreign right now. I used to have more. All of those stocks pay dividends. Those dividends I get, they take taxes out in those countries, and then I file my taxes, report that income, and then I get a tax credit for the tax I paid. Every one of those countries has higher taxes than America, so I come out ahead in that respect. Bram says, I closed my account at FNB years ago, got a notice from them that I'm owing them money, and I closed it. They didn't close it when it was there 8 years later. Now it's removed from my name. Well, that's good. You got to take it off. Seven Seas International, they'll apply for the tax clearance and the value of the goods, but anything older than 4 years just needs to be listed. Okay. Hey, Cara, thank you for the 35 Rand super chat. Appreciate that. Clouds are gathering. Maze is saying, don't rent a house, sell. I mean, folks, you can take whatever advice you want. Toyota fan, but the Explorer looks yummy. Yeah, I have a Toyota. Hey, Kati Fundibad. Okay, if I rent it, okay. Something similar. I switched to AfriHost and had to still pay for that month $1,000. Well, I just canceled my Sprint number that became T-Mobile. I canceled that account, and my bill came on the 23rd of December, and they billed me for $40. I'm like, wait a second, I canceled this on the 12th of December. Why am I paying for $40? Shouldn't be, because you pay in advance. I shouldn't be paying this. And I called them and they said, no. Your bill actually cycles on the 6th. It's not due till the 23rd, because you have auto pay. That's when they take it off. So my bill ran through the 6th. So I owe them from the 6th until the 12th for 6 days. I paid $40. What will happen is that they will credit me back and give me a final bill. That's what they say. Anyway, that's the plan. All right. Yeah, gasoline's half the price. Yeah, fuel's not a major issue. Can you pay your debt in South Africa with a U.S. bank account? Well, if you have a Capitec bank account, it's going to be easy. You can just transfer the dollars to your Capitec account. Yeah. Ben sent me a WhatsApp. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'll show that. That's fine, Ben. Okay, that's fine. No worries. Thank you for that. I guess this is the snow. It's happening now. It's snowing in Milwaukee as we speak, apparently. Okay. Okay, so let me get that up. Ben's showing me that. There it is. Okay, so here you go, guys. This is right now. This is in Milwaukee. There you go. So it's snowing. All right, so let me close that. Close that one. So we showed off the car. All right. Tip for electricity. One will struggle without credit record. Get prepaid. Works here. We don't have prepaid electricity in most of America. There's no such thing. No, most such thing. Refugees will get help getting set up electricity. That's another reason why you don't pick up and move. See, that's people don't think about this stuff. When you are delivered to Pennsylvania and that's where you go and you decide, I want to live in Idaho because someone told me to go out there, or I want to live in South Dakota because someone gave me advice on Facebook to go out there. So you just pick up and move to South Dakota. You have no credit history. When you apply for electricity, you're not going to get electricity. You're not going to get natural gas. You have to have a credit history. You have to have access to those things. But as a refugee, they set these things up for you. They set them all up for you. There is sound, Pat Schultz. You're behind. Catch up. Okay. There's. You can't just do that. It doesn't work that way. Does he not say that not being able to get a job is not a legitimate reason? Correct, Theo. I did say that. Unless it's because of racial preferences. If that's the reason. If you can't get a job because you're incompetent, if you can't get a job because you got fired from 5 jobs, if you can't get a job because you got caught stealing, that's not a refugee basis. If you were denied a job and an unqualified black applicant was hired over you, or you've applied to 145 different jobs and been turned down every one, yet the fact you have a master's degree in economics and you can't get a job, then that's racial persecution. So be clear. Sound is not off. Quit making those exclamation marks and pay attention. Refresh your damn page. Page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sound is not off. These people are behind. I don't understand people that start watching the stream at the beginning and then the chat is still live and they're talking to people as if they're live. Pay attention to what's being written in the chat. Obviously, that was a long time ago. Thank you, Dylan. It was a long time ago. And it was off on purpose. I was wondering, people saying we don't get snow in South Africa. We do. Yeah, but you did get snow in South Africa, especially in the Drakensberg. No, see, Theo, you're hearing what you want to hear. See, this is the problem we have here. People hear what they want to hear. That is not the case. No. That's not what he said. That's what you heard because you want to hear that. That's not what he said. He had a job. He was applying for other jobs and couldn't get the jobs because he was white. She didn't want to say that. Remember, she went the whole thing. Lynn was still programmed. You can't say black because you're a racist. That was in her head. He never said what you said. What he said is that he had a job, he worked for a very good employer, and he was looking for other jobs, and he couldn't get them. And he was worried that in the future, he wouldn't be able to get a job because when he applies for all these jobs, he gets turned down because he's not black. That's what he said. My words, not his, but that's the essence of it. Theo, you're hearing what you want to hear, man. You've got to listen to what people say. And he didn't want to get any further detail. There's more to it than that. And when it came to the security issue, he didn't want to really talk about that. Okay? I have no idea what orangutan juice is talking about. Bites and oxen and what are you talking about, man? Francois Ferrer, you're welcome. Expat pen. Who's that? Somebody in Pennsylvania? My past persecution is based on ability to get work. My future is based on race-based laws. There you go. That's good. People say, okay. All right. I don't get how after not even a month people want to move, at least experience all the seasons. Yeah, Antoinette, I got you on that, but I understand when people are... people are behind the stream. Yeah, they are. They tune in late. Yeah, no, Arctic. Don't worry about being lost. It's people who tune in late, and then the chat is still live. The chat is still live, and they're watching a video that's from a long time ago. And because the chat's rolling up, they're writing the sound is off. They're not even going to see this until 40 minutes from now, probably. They did not say he could not get a job. He said if he lost his job, he would suffer to find another job. Yes. Right, Trump Americano. That is exactly what he said. But what I did is I translated into what he was getting at. Yes, there are cars in all price ranges, and most of them are out of my price range. And people forget, you got to get insurance. You got to have insurance. Insurance can be expensive. Change your shit. You've been in PA. Oh, expats. Okay, cool. All right. Well, you're not near me unless you're the guys over near Philadelphia. That's not too close to me. Anyway. All right, cool. Thanks for changing. Gotcha. Well, that phone's charged now. All right, so there you go, guys. That happens more often than not. I had a phone call that asked if I'm colored, and when I said no, they said, sorry, but this is only for a PD. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Pat. That's exactly right. Yep. Theo, no, dude. No. Let's go back to what you said. Theo. Let's go back. Did you and Freshie not say that? Yeah, I did say that, Theo. And then what did you say after that? Okay, but your guest had a job, retired, and has one reason. His one reason was not being able to get a job. That is not what he said, man. That's what you wrote, Theo. That's not what he said. Did anyone else hear what I heard? Or did you hear what Theo heard? We're not picking on Theo or picking on me. We're just asking, what did you guys hear? Did you hear what Theo heard, or did you hear what I heard? And what is Guy asking? Well, it's not a question of wrong, guys. It's a question of whether people heard something, okay? Okay, where's Guy at? Guy said something, and Arctic responded. Guy said, is there a rule to the maximum time we can wait until we get provisional outcome after the second interview? I would rather appeal. There's no appeal, Guy. No appeal. There's no appeal. Andre the Great, well, how are other refugees' experiences? I can't encapsulate that in the 30 refugees I've interviewed here. I mean, that's an unfair question to ask me. Unless there's a refugee here who is in the United States, and 5% of the people in the poll were here. So that's about 50 people out of 1,000. So about 50 people, if they're still here, then just, jump in if you want to say that. If you're a refugee in America, you can give experiences. But I couldn't possibly answer that for the 1,000 plus refugees that are here, or for the 50 I've done it. Okay. You're welcome, Andreas. V something there. Yeah, Andre, the best advice I can offer on that is go watch the playlist. We've got a lot of people here. Okay, Shylock, that's not necessary. He wasn't being a rude dickhead. I don't think he's being a rude dickhead. So that's just I think that he misunderstood. Or maybe I misunderstood. Go where they place us, and once we're assimilate and know how things works, then we can do problems. Exactly, Trump Americana. That's the answer. That's the answer. What is Kath? Boy, you're seeing questions a lot quicker than I am there, Arctic. You're all over it, man. Kathleen. Let me see. Oh, there she is. Had all interviews in medical, just waiting. Okay. That's the last thing I saw from her. Yeah. Thank you for answering. Question is mainly for the ones in chat. Okay, that's fine, Andre the Great. Yeah, if there's anybody in chat. No, as far as their experiences, Andre, I would recommend you go watch the other interviews. We've had some really good interviews this past week, in December. Really good interviews. Yep. Yep. Yeah, exactly. People aren't going to broadcast their trauma on the air. I've never asked that of people. That's very selfish for me to try to do that. It's one of the reasons. They probably had a lot of other things they did not wish to talk about. Exactly. Exactly. I said stop picking on Theo. Thank you, Arctic. Yeah, it's a misunderstanding. So again, when I asked people's opinions about what they heard, if they heard what I heard or they heard what Theo said, I said don't pick on Theo. So let's not do that. It's unnecessary. Okay. I don't need people leaving the channel because they feel insulted needlessly. Okay. Yeah, he's like AI. Yeah, that's right. People share all this crap in the WhatsApp groups, but they won't do it on an interview. Where is Kathleen at? You keep answering Kathleen. I don't see any statements. Oh, there it is. Will we be able to get an interest-free loan, or did I get that wrong? Okay. What's with the exclamation points, Kathleen? Interest-free loan for what? For what? For what? Okay. You will get an interest-free loan for the flight because you have to borrow the money from the International Organization of Migration, IOM. You will get an interest-free loan. I've seen the paperwork. I have a copy of the paperwork that a refugee got. So we have the proof of it. So you will get an interest-free loan from them. Pay it back over time. That establishes credit. Get your Social Security number. As far as interest-free loans, you won't get an interest-free loan for a home. That's never going to happen. How do banks make money? Interest-free loan for cars? Aha. If you have good credit history, oftentimes at the end of the year, because a lot of states charge car dealerships for inventory. So in other words, if you live in a particular state where they say car dealerships have to pay an inventory tax at the end of the year, if they've got 500 cars on their lot and they have to pay $100 per car, woo, that's a big tax bill. If they sell those cars the last week of December, they don't pay those taxes. So a lot of times you will get deals towards the Christmas season in some states, some dealerships, or if a company is having a hard time selling cars, they'll offer 0% financing for well-qualified buyers. Well-qualified buyers. Everyone goes, 0% financing. But even if you're not a well-qualified buyer with a good credit history, a good credit score, you might be able to get a better credit rate than you normally get. So, yeah. So right now I could buy, in December I could have bought a Mazda for 0% interest and take a 6-year loan out on it. Yeah. Yeah, if you can't be kind, be quiet. That's a good thing. Well, Pistons, some questions are a bit crazy, yes. Trump Connor says, I wish people would just listen properly and take the advice Colonel gives. It would save a lot of time. Yep. Kathleen, you're welcome. They're supposed to be question marks. And you used them again. Yeah, no, it's okay. But I hope I answered your question. Okay, guys. See here. Okay, Guy. I'm not picking on Guy, and I don't want anyone to pick on Guy. But I'm going to make a point here to show you the problem with what you don't know. Okay. Well, let me explain. Guy, I'm not picking on you. You're not going to take offense, right? You're not going to take offense. But I'm going to use your comment to make a point. Guy said, I was told you have to sign a promissory note to pay back the loan. First off, who told you that? Did the did RSC tell you that? If they told you, that's okay. If someone else told you in the WhatsApp group or a Facebook page, okay. But it is true. Can we get an idea how much per person this is since last minute book tickets are very expensive? No, they're not. No, they're not. No. See, the problem with that is that what you don't know. What you don't know, it'll kill you. That's the problem. So, Guy, you're not buying a ticket from Delta. You're not buying a ticket like I do to come to South Africa on United or Delta. You are not buying a ticket. RSC is arranging travel for you through a U.S. government contract, which gives the best rates available. And whether they book it a day in advance or a month in advance, it doesn't affect the ticket price. It is contracted under law what they pay. So they'll pay the same price for Delta, whether it's 2 days in advance or 37 days in advance. No impact. You aren't buying a ticket. The U.S. government, in effect, is buying the ticket. That's why you're only flying on Delta and United, because you can't fly KLM or Emirates or Kenya Airways or Ethiopian because they're not U.S. carriers. The contracts are with the U.S. carriers. And we have authority over those planes. We can force them to the ground. We can suspend their aviation license. We can demand they do certain things. So what you don't know is what hurts you here. It doesn't matter. But yes, you will sign a promissory note. When this program started, I said the normal way this works for refugees back in February, I said, is that you get, and I was the only person saying this, only person. Show me another content creator or journalist that told you about this in February, March, April, May. Since then, other people said, I told you back then that the normal way it works for refugees is that their trip to America is financed through the International Organization of Migration, a United Nations agency. Then, when the fake media in South Africa tried to disparage this program, later, they started saying that the International Organization of Migration has stated they will unequivocally not pay for refugees from South Africa because they're not refugees. Well, that was BS. I reported the story and said that doesn't make any sense because legally they meet the definition of refugees. So if the UN refuses, they've got a problem. Well, they never refused. And we now have confirmation. I have paperwork to prove, and many refugees have told us they had to sign a promissory. You make a loan. It's an interest-free loan. Life doesn't get better than interest-free loan. People are just giving you money. So your flight will be paid for on a U.S. contracted carrier, a U.S. flag carrier, and a contracted price that the U.S. government pays. They would pay the same thing for your ticket that they would pay for me, whether it's 6 months in advance or 2 days in advance. So don't worry about that. And also don't worry about the loan. You get here, you get a Social Security number. That's a loan. You're paying off the loan every month. Pay it off. People are like, I want to pay the loan off right away. Stop. You do not understand America. You must have a Social Security number and you must develop a credit history or you're a nobody. Unless you're a billionaire, you're screwed. Because everybody needs to borrow money at some point. You have a catastrophic health issue. You have an accident. Your car gets destroyed in an accident. You need a new car. The insurance didn't pay off. You need to buy a house. Who has $500,000 sitting around? I don't. You need credit. And to get credit, you have to have a Social Security number and you have to have an established credit history. They do this on purpose so that we don't bear the cost of your flight. We're already bearing $3 billion of other cost. And so that you have a chance to build a credit history. It's the same with the utilities. Utilities build a credit history. Credit cards build a credit history. My recommendation if you get a credit card, though, is pay it in full every month. Pay it off before the grace period is off every month. Use it as an interest-free loan. That's how I use my credit cards. I get tons of credit cards right here. Here, lots of credit cards. I use them as interest-free loans, and I have a sterling credit history. That's what you need to do. So, Guy, not picking on you, but your question is perfect for me to address. You will have to sign a loan to pay for the flights. And if there's 5 of you in the family, it's probably going to be about $1,500. But that depends. If they're flying to Alaska, you're going to have to pay for the flight to Alaska too. So let's just say you're going to Alabama, okay? $1,500 roughly for 5 people. That's $7,500 loan. Plus, you're going to have to pay for the flight to Alabama from Atlanta. That's another $150 per person. That's another $700. So you're paying about, let's say you get a $6,000 loan. You don't have to start paying it off until 6 months after you arrive. If you're not in established financial position, which most refugees aren't from Myanmar or from the Congo or from Kyrgyzstan, they haven't got established in 6 months because they can't even speak English yet. If that's the case, you can ask to delay the payments. But you'll all be established in working jobs in those 6 months. So start paying it back and paying over the life of the term. There's nothing wrong with that. You have to get this mindset out of your head that debt is horrible. I don't like debt. I used to pay for things cash a lot too, and I pay for many things cash. I bought my Volvo with cash, $23,000. I saved money for 3 years and paid $23,000 to buy my car cash. I saved $5,000 off the cost of the car by doing that. But I established no credit history. So when I bought my next car, I got a loan. Does that make sense? San Francisco quietly rolls out a $5 million per person reparations for black residents while in a $1 billion deficit. Don't know if you... No, I didn't cover that, Matthew. I didn't cover that. They've talked about this before. I don't know where the status is. I have to take a look at it. That is so racist, and that will be struck down as unconstitutional. Who's being disrespectful? What did I miss there, Martin? What's the deal with inflation? What is Sean saying? If you consider inflation when you get interest-free loan, whom? Exactly. No, that's exactly right. Exactly right. When you get a loan, a low interest loan or no interest loan, the people you're giving money to, it's worth less. There's always some sort of inflation, and at 2.7% inflation, which is where it's at right now, that $100 you pay back is only $96 and some cents. Yep, it's a really good deal. Apply yourself, find a solution, and be better, and find a way to stop this complaining. Yep. Monster Max, leasing cars is a possibility for anybody in America. Anybody can lease a car, but you usually have to put like $4,000 or $5,000 down. Then you have to agree to a lease for like 36 months or something like that. But the upside is that they do the maintenance on it, and if it breaks down, they have to repair it. So yeah, it's not your car. A friend of mine has got a $150,000 electric Mercedes. He leased it. When I get to the U.S., I think the best job in the U.S. at the moment is to open a child care center in a blue state. That's funny, guy. I see you didn't take offense. That's funny. MK Interiors, how's it going? Oh, my goodness. That's funny. What is January 15th, MK Interiors? What is this now? I don't see anything for MK Interiors. I'm going back here. Stan says lower interest. Well, that's true. They usually do away with incentives if you're not paying an interest alone. But the thing is with that, Stan, is that you can get low interest loans if you have good credit. So when I bought my Chrysler, I got 1.75% interest rate. The prime lending rate at the time for the average rate most people got was 5.75 and 6%. I got my loan at 1.75% because the bank knew they would get the money back. I have that good a history. So I got all these incentives. My car was $38,000 on the lot. I financed it myself through my own bank, got 1.75%, and I put $750 down on it with a credit card, which was giving me 1.5% back. So I got $750. I got $10 back cash on my statement that month. And I had paid $750 of the amount. I borrowed the rest at 1.75%. And over the course of the 6-year loan, I made far more money in my investments than I did in paying back the interest. Yep. You just have to be financially wise. That's all. What is this? Someone told me to drop it. Wow, so I defend you and then you're rude to me? That's real special. Seems that the U.S. government will go unfunded by the end of January with the refugee program halt. Okay, where are you getting 15? This is stop the spreading the cock. Are you getting this from these stupid WhatsApp groups and Facebook pages? There's no basis for January 15th. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. The government is funded through 30 January. If a shutdown looms, you can expect to see refugees stop coming over about 3 to 5 days prior to that, but not the 15th. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. That's nonsense. Nope. Cut, he says that's 1%. That's like free money. It is. When you consider that during that loan, during the course of that loan, interest rates were running, or not interest, inflation was running at 3% per year on average, 2.5% most of the time. So it was 2.5% inflation. So the money I paid them back was 0.5% less value each year than what had been before. So so I was a really good deal. I mean, I'm making 3 or 4% in savings accounts now. Not at the time. That was a while ago. Arctic says, I need all your kids' names. We're going to enroll them in our daycare center. That's a good one. I like that. That's funny. Anyway, yeah. So, all right. Yes, Matthew, I know what your interest rate is. That's one of the reasons why South Africa is unaffordable. Your marketplace is too small. Therefore, margins on automobiles have to be significantly higher than they are in America. You can sell 1 million cars here and become incredibly wealthy with a very small margin. You sell 1,000 cars in South Africa and go bankrupt if you have the same margin. Yep. Is there such a thing as a dumb question? There is such a thing as a dumb question, but I tolerate all questions when it comes to refugee program because people just don't know. CarMax 4 times only had good. Yeah, a lot of people use CarMax. I saw your good definition today and thought of you. Person who constantly asks for your advice yet always does the opposite of what you told him. You know, that's Antoinette. I like that. I appreciate that. I mean, maybe not the word itself, but I get it. You know, it is frustrating when people ask me for advice and then they just ignore it. I mean, then why did you ask? Why did you take up my time? My life is precious as yours is. Okay. Debt is bad. That's why a lot of Americans go bankrupt unless you're rich. No, Napoleon, you're wrong. You're wrong. The rich get richer by borrowing more, investing the money they borrowed. So how can you say debt is bad when you just say the rich get richer by borrowing money? No, of course you don't pay tax on money or loan. It's not income. But your argument doesn't make sense, Napoleon. You said debt is bad, then you said rich people get richer by using debt. I don't understand that. People become wealthy by loaning money at low interest rates and investing in higher interest rates. Well, I borrow, Monster Max. I borrow. My house mortgage is 3.75%. When I made my house loan, people were paying 6.75, and I got 3.75. I probably could have gotten lower, but I was happy with the bank I went with. 3.75. Yep. Why is renting my house in South Africa when America a liability? I never said it was a liability. Where are you getting that from? I didn't say that. Assume that they would stop around the 15th, a few days prior. No, but CMK Interiors, what you're saying, your assumption is very dangerous because somebody will read that, then they'll say they heard of this program. It's not true. Not true. Now, what you should say, MK Interiors, you should have said is that I understand the government is shutting down the 30th. Am I correct in assuming that on the 15th they'll stop travel? That's how you should have said that. I'm not chastising. I'm just saying that's how you should have asked it. Yep. Elon Musk does not take salary, but takes loans out of his shares. Yep. Okay. Andres has been unsubscribed 4 times today. That's crazy, Andres. Are you refreshing the page after you subscribe? Make sure you do that. Okay. One of the listeners said that. Okay, Kathleen. Okay. Yeah. I that's whatever. I didn't say it was a liability. It's a burden you're going to have to deal with if you have assets in another country. I mean, if I owned a house in Somerset West, I'm not there. I'm going to have somebody watch it. Otherwise, squatters will take it over, and then the Poppy Act will screw me. Kathleen says, I realize just to listen to you and no one else. Thanks for everything. Well, Kathleen, I'm not advocating that, but I'm just saying that you're getting a straight shot from me. I make mistakes. I called the Washington Post reporter propagandist earlier. I was wrong, and I apologized on air for that. But I mean, I'm pretty correct most of the time. Amazing how a hardworking Walmart employee can buy a house and finance a car. Try to do that pick and pay. Oh, that's a good point, Skulkalupshire. It's a good point. It's good point. Need to find my reading glasses. It's a bit blurry today. Spelling mistake. It's okay, Karen. Don't worry about it. Okay, I've got my brother who's renting from me, says Kathleen. Okay. Then, I mean, as long as you're getting income from that, your brother, I mean, in that case, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, unless your brother's a dirtbag. I mean, Kathleen, I'm not speaking about your brother. But I mean, if you have a house and you want to keep it in South Africa, okay, so first off, I have never told South African refugees to liquidate all your things. I mean, if you have resources in South Africa, you have land or property or farm, and you want to retain possession of that, I've also told you to keep your bank account. Keep your bank account. You know, I mean, I'm not telling people to sever their ties with South Africa. Not saying that at all. And yeah, Arctic just said that's different. If you've got a brother, the problem you have, guys, is this: is that the law doesn't favor property owners in South Africa. Now with expropriation, you may find yourself dealing with a whole bunch of crap. A whole bunch of crap. I mean, if you move to America and you own farmland in Gauteng, and you know someone's farming it for you, and then squatters take it over and they build structures there, you can't kick them out. If you have a farmhouse and they move in because you weren't living in it, you're screwed. Now you've got a legal issue and you're a refugee over here. You can't resolve it. So I'm not telling you to get rid of anything. I'm just saying that you have to be cognizant of those things. You got it? Thank you. Stan, LR, B4W. Think long term. Short term, your interest rates will be higher because no credit history. But after you establish credit in a few years, then better rates. It won't even take a few years, Stan. Your credit rating will get established pretty quickly. If you do like Arctic and I suggest, go get yourself a prepaid card from Walmart and your Social Security account, your number be tied to it. Then get yourself a credit card as soon as you can. Pay off your balance every month. Pay off your balance every month. Pay your utilities. Never miss your utilities. Pay them on time. Pay your rent on time. It will build quickly. If you, however, miss utility payment, if you don't pay your rent, you don't pay your credit card, your credit score is going to go in the tank and it's taking a lot longer to fix it. But if you're starting with zero, it doesn't take that long to establish credit. Arctic says 12 months. Yes and no. It depends. The credit agencies. Store things where I can, pay for it to be stored, and can afford private storage. Well, good luck with that, Theo. That's a fair point. It's not a bad idea, but just ask Werner Kolk how that goes. All of his Sevens memorabilia was stolen from a storage unit in Cape Town. Is Tinius, can you tell us more about Operation Pet Lift? Pet Lift has not sent anybody over. It's a legitimate organization as far as I know. I've talked to Morgan Alsop. I've been in touch with her, but they ran into a lot of problems from people in their own ranks who caused problems, and also a lot of fake media about them and lies about them, which caused the State Department to issue a warning. The State Department has withdrawn the warning because they found out it was illegitimate, the warning. Never miss a payment. Early payments make a big difference. Yep. Theo says that's sad. See, if you had a Frappuccino, you wouldn't make a mistake. You're right, Martin Fundamental. If I was drinking Frappuccinos, I would make no mistakes. I'd be back to being perfect again. Renting to him for a while, then he wants to pay. Thanks for the advice. I stay in an established city, not on a farm, but still don't understand. Okay, let me address this very quickly with you, Kathleen. Okay, this is what's coming down the pike. Expropriation without compensation is not about land. It's about property. The Constitution clearly says expropriation can be property, and the Expropriation Without Compensation Act clearly says property. The farmland is a red herring being used to cover what they're trying to do. To steal land from a few tens of thousands of farmers is going to be a lot easier to do than to start repossessing and taking homes, cars, jewelry, stocks, bonds, retirement accounts. They're already coming for your retirement accounts. Yeah, so you have to understand that. The government of South Africa is looking to steal everything you own, whether you're white, black, or brown. Whether you're white, black, or brown. Arctic says, drink that battery acid that he sent me. I won't make any mistakes. Yeah, Mace, 36 grams of sugar and 221 grams of caffeine in Celsius. What's your point? Heinrich says, afraid to ask. What are you talking about? Ask your question. That is a trap show. You pay way more than you owe. No, Aurora, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. An interest-free loan is not a trap show. You don't pay back more. You pay less. My loans, I pay back money that's worth less to the people who get the money back than what I borrowed. In the meantime, I make more money through my investments. Will Thea be interviewed? Yes, I've already covered that guy. She will be on the program. I heard from her this past week. Let me see if she wrote to me again last day or two. She's going to come in January, so... let me see if, okay. Okay. I heard from her on Monday. Yep. And she wrote back to me. Yep. On Monday, out of the blue. So, caffeine is not good for you. It causes sleeplessness. It causes behavior problems. It causes all kinds of problems. Yeah. I don't know about patience being considered property. That's kind of news to me. Gray man, you are correct. Oh, will it get you in trouble in the States? No, but it'll get a judgment against you in South Africa if the banks want to come after you. But if that's what they start doing in mass, gray man, they start taking land like that, then the banks are going to fail. So there'll be nobody to come after you except whoever inherits their debt. Yeah, no, that won't affect you in the U.S. No, unless they have the resource to sue you, and then you'd have a court case. But the South African companies are not going to sue you here; they're going to sue you in South Africa. So, but yes, they will confiscate land, and in your bond, your loan, you won't be compensated for. Yep, that's the way it is, guys. Shelley says SABC says she owes him 7,000 rand. Kathleen says she can't wait to leave South Africa with corruption and the race laws. Well, I get that, Kathleen. I get that. Yes, Guy, Thea will be back on the program. So, and we have another interview tomorrow with another refugee. So that's what this was. And now I've been on for considerably longer, doing another hour after this. So, okay, everything that is considered ownership, I just find it funny with the new gun law. They can just EWC all the guns. Exactly. What would be your analysis regarding the government shutdown possibilities? Common sense, I've answered this many, many times, but I'll answer it again. I've also told you from before they ever did a continuing resolution that they're probably going to do a continuing resolution and the government was likely to shut down again. So my analysis is that by 30 January, they have to approve a continuing resolution or a budget. There will not be a budget by 30 January. Not going to happen, I don't think. I'd love to be wrong on that, but I don't think it's going to happen. So that's the first thing. Second thing is there's a very real possibility that they won't have that because the Senate has to have a vote on a health care bill, which hasn't appeared yet. Now, they'll be back in office here in a couple of days, and we'll see what happens. After the first week, we'll know for sure whether it's going to be a possibility. But I think it's a very real possibility the government will shut down on January 31st. What about Operation Pet Lift? The Democrats are not going to side with him, Alan. So, I mean, I don't agree with that analysis. First off, as I said, COSATU came to America and the ANC came to America, and they like to cozy up with the Congressional Black Caucus. The Congressional Black Caucus remonstrated both COSATU and the ANC over EWC. The ANC was taken aback. The COSATU was shocked. You're our allies. You're the unions. You support unions. You're black. You're supposed to support us. And they both said, no, this is not going to fly. Nope. No, that's not having an impact. The ANC doesn't care about that. Yep. All right. Recipe channel. What? What's going on with recipes? Anyway, all right, guys, we went a lot longer than we said it should have gone there. So we have 5,556 people tune in for this one. Again, we got another refugee interview tomorrow. I've got to get that one set up. So thank you for that. You need to put a map of USA behind you and put a pin every state. Yeah, that's an idea, but I'm not going to put more holes in my wall. Yeah, I saw that. They approved the transfer of 169 properties for land claim settlements. Jeez. The problem with that is Itaquiti doesn't have the authority under the Constitution. They do under the Unconstitutional Expropriation Without Compensation Act, but they don't have it. All right, so coworker drank 20 cups of coffee before lunch. Man had full-on caffeine psychosis. Yeah, I don't know what it costs per animal to get across. I can tell you that my cats cost me $7,000 both directions. I had 2 cats, took to Botswana, and it cost me like $4,500, and it cost me like $2,800 to bring them back. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. And then one of them died 3 weeks later in a kennel. You're welcome on the move. Hardick is trying to be funny. He's going to get spanked here in a second. All right. Okay, guys, hit the like button if you haven't done it already. Come on. How are we doing on likes? Let's take a look. 695. That's not bad. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks for being tuned in. Enjoy the rest of your New Year's Day. And the Welsh rugby teams let me down. I'm just letting you know, Fleshin. I haven't seen you here in the chat. They both let me down. Screwed me in my Super Brew. Cardiff, screw them. And the Dragons, screw them. By me, Hardick. All right, you guys take care, and I'll be back on tonight with Night Owls, okay? See you guys later. That's 5 o'clock in the morning for South Africans. Be well, folks. Take care, and thanks to my guests for being here. They were fantastic.